Make sure we had both.
Oh my gosh.
That is dying.
So 40 meaning that they needed to get at least 40 people to sign up before they got the
40
file.
is the minimum to have the entire bowl stay in town. Yeah, KWRI has certain metrics, and if
I'm
you're not
sure
at 40,
yeah.
Yep.
So what was it? What was the final?
we got 43.
That's awesome.
So yeah, thanks a
Well,
lot
thanks
to
to
the
Dottie.
generosity at the end. And
Everything. I think that's
that was great.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
And
I can't
think
wait
we-
until
I think we may have to double check some of the reporting, but we may have enough to maybe offer one more half scholarship to someone that's
that
not
would
in
be
there.
nice,
That
yeah.
wanted to be. So we'll see. Yeah, I have to double check reporting and numbers.
That's
but
awesome. I'm looking forward to a year from now when I've already made some money so that I can give that $400 that she gave me. Move
That's
on.
what I said too.
That's the
Good
culture.
morning. Good morning. How you doing?
Paul, you're not gonna find that. You're not gonna find that at any other real estate.
No.
company.
No.
That's all right. Joe's gonna be over here pretty shortly for blast off. Congrats on graduating or pre-graduating before you have to finish the last few sessions next go around. And
Yeah.
we'll see you guys around.
Absolutely.
Thank you for your help, guys.
You're very welcome, David. Have a good day.
4 weeks, that's gone pretty quickly.
What's that?
It's 4 weeks, that's
Good morning,
gone
Joe.
quickly.
Hey-o.
Good morning.
Hey, David.
Where? I thought you were setting me up over here.
I got the camera set up. You don't know how to turn a computer
I don't know where the computer is.
The computer's right here.
Is that really what we use now?
This is really what
See,
we
I
use
would have
now.
used that one.
Okay.
So no, I don't. I got you. Password. I thought that's written down somewhere.
Should all be plugged in. Good to go.
Maybe if there's a hint.
Was you at Bold
It
yesterday?
used to be written down somewhere.
No.
No, I don't have childcare on Thursdays, so.
You brought the child
Oh
in.
no, he would lose his shit.
Oh. There was a golf simulator. There was enough babysitters that could have watched you.
Yeah.
Well, we're doing terrible too with teething, so I
Oh.
got it. It's fine.
I'm in my terrible 40s.
Yeah.
It gets better, and then they become teenagers.
Oh god, I have 2 of those too, so.
Oh,
it's
yeah. I've got, my oldest is 16, and so she's always interesting. I'm like, boy, I hope the boys are easier than this.
Oh boy, I was lucky I only had a son, but like being a young dad at the time, everybody had girls.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no like, hey, bring Chris over for sleepover. I'm like, I don't think you like that. Pulls his pants down, runs around the house.
Doesn't everyone do that?
All the boys do that. That happens at my house.
Yeah, my kid was just he was a nudist from the get-go.
Yeah.
You know, we finally, when my daughter was like 12, she finally came and said to us, "Can you make the boys at least wear underwear?" I really, really, really don't need to see them running around naked. She's like, and my friends definitely don't want to see it.
Yeah.
So now they're old enough that I'm like, you don't want to wear sweatpants or whatever, put on shorts.
Something.
That's all you need, shorts.
Yeah.
Fine. So go in your room and shut the door. Don't be in the game room like that.
Yeah. So Joe.
Yes, sir.
I got Cheryl's gonna be getting a information packet together for you to look over is regarding.
Yeah.
Hey Paul.
Good, how you doing today?
Pretty good.
How are you?
Yeah, I did a lot of
So Say that again?
I made it to all of them as soon as you have to.
Yeah, well, actually, no, I don't think I am graduating. No, cause I've got like 2 classes, I missed like 2 Wednesdays.
Yeah.
You missed number 30. That's cool.
I missed one.
I missed
Yeah.
one
I
contract
started
2 weeks ago when I
number
did,
2.
That's why the next one stacks up.
But I have
6
to-
months from now.
Oh, okay, I missed all
Yes, it's not right away, it's after bowl, so.
I see.
What are you gonna do?
Alright,
I just gotta go back and
so VA pack, just information for you and,
Oh, okay.
and mom and dad.
Appreciate that. You said they're gonna send it to me?
I'm gonna bring it in to you Monday.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Yeah, actually talking with her,
Yeah, nice job.
there are lots of
So you have
different options available.
one.
Oh,
listed
sure.
as
Really
one,
cool option.
One
Yep.
buyer that's writing an offer.
So,
Under contract, and another seller needing tonight or tomorrow? Okay.
another what's
Falling
on?
behind.
Yeah, we're sitting here today.
Nice,
Yeah,
very nice, good for you.
yeah, thank you.
Good for you, that's awesome.
I have, I have confidence that it'll work out.
Good, that's, I tell you what, that's the very start of the momentum,
Yeah.
cause if I don't believe in you,
Yeah.
get out.
Well, like you said yesterday, right? You gotta bet on yourself. Your family already did, so.
Absolutely,
Oh, that's a good point.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I've been thinking about the most. You know, it's hard to listen to like all the sales pitches there.
Yeah.
Bullshit numbers. Like, I would be willing to bet him $1,000 that the 40 people there are not gonna sell. What is it, 14 times 42?
43, I think, was the final.
43, so 430 and 160, so 600 in the next 7 weeks. Just for that group of people, right? Our 2 market leaders in March were 10, well, I even
So Joe, the numbers that they have up there for
7, you know.
sales for the, for the month and stuff,
We're
again,
gonna be set to be on
the Bean
these.
Group
There's
and
some fluff.
all those
There's
other ones.
definitely some fluff.
And we're on the top.
It'd be funny if felt like a shit city.
Not a, like a
Well, there's
ginormous
good stuff in
amount,
between too.
but would you, do they take into consideration
Just lose the
how many agents there are at
Just give me
Bean?
the-
We have we have that information, and they do have more agents than us by about 100.
Wow, yeah, okay, I would.
I was
thought
asking,
that.
I asked the same question recently, this week. It said,
Okay.
how come that's not up there? And they do have the stats. It's just not something that they include in the presentation.
Group is that big?
However, that's what I was told. I haven't seen it on paper. That's what I was told.
Wow, I had no
So,
idea
I
that.
mean, cause that's one of the big things that they say is, 500 agents here, and we're like, holy crap.
Well, and keep in mind, a lot of people get their license and hang it up, and they don't do any production.
Correct.
We have a handful of Keller Williams that are falling into that category, right? That get it, and I mean, there's one guy that's in PC, and his job is a property management company. Part of his prerequisites to hold that position is he needs to have his real estate license. I met him. He said, I have zero intentions of ever doing a real estate transaction. It's just a requirement for my job. I said, okay, great.
How do you do your?
You know what I mean? So there's people like that.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How do you do your 2-year field that you get your associate broker license? Do you-
Ask me in a year.
Well, no,
That guy.
you're still figuring it out.
Basically, what happens is you'll sign up at either the Real Estate Learning Group or Arthur Gary. You'll enroll in their field experience course, associate broker field experience course. It has to be completed before your 2-year mark. We have a free prep course here at KW. The way it works is you go every week for 5 weeks on like a Tuesday at the Real Estate Learning Group. So every week for 5 weeks on Monday, you'll meet here with Janice did the last one, and we'll walk you through step by step on your different checklists. So it's pretty quick. It's not. It's really, and the reason why we say wait till a year, because the whole point of the course is to make sure that you actually have field experience. You know how to do the basic showings and lock boxes, and you know how to work with clients and write offers. So if you do it right now, you're not going to get anything out of it. It's going to be kind of pointless, and you don't have field experience. So right around a year, and I like a year because it gives you plenty of buffer time. Don't wait until your 23rd month in real estate to say, oh yeah, let me do the field experience course, because now your license will get suspended. So right around a year and a half, it's a good time to look into it.
And so you need to have that before you go for your associate broker.
you have to have that by 2 years to be an associate broker. Otherwise, you just get expired or you get terminated.
Oh, so it's not
or suspended.
necessarily a test that we go for the associate
That's at the
broker?
end of the field experience course.
Oh, okay.
It's just like what you did for your sales license.
How lengthy is your test compared to the one
More
you did
in-depth
with
course.
sales?
It's a couple hours. It's the same type of thing.
Yeah.
So it's not a state test or a national test, it's just through the learning group or whatever it is.
Well, it meets the criteria by the Maine Real Estate Commission.
I don't think there is a state exam.
So you know what I'm saying, so you don't go to the Pearson U to go and take that test, just to do the.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe, probably. Let's say yes. Let's say yes.
You do.
There's gonna be some kind
Because I
of.
accidentally signed up for the associate broker, so it is at the same place. And
Oh,
you take
okay.
your Pearson beer. Yeah. I said I accidentally, so I can tell you that it's.
That's awesome.
So did you go to take the test and you're like, wait, this is the wrong test?
No, I realized it before.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, you need to change this.
Right.
But I have to take a
I
little.
like jams.
Hey, you gotta get pumped up. I don't know about you guys, but today's blast off. Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I am Ignit.
I hope you're excited, because I sure am.
Nice.
Today's graduation day. You guys should be excited.
Oh yeah.
We can start here in a second. I'm excited if you want.
What about the beginning? We're gonna start by the beginning.
Well, maybe you missed a couple at the beginning. All right. We'll get them next time around. This will be the last Ignite for the next 6 weeks. Focus on bold. I think everybody here is in bold. My 2 front rowers. Interesting. Rick called you yesterday, didn't he?
Yes. Yeah, I thought I would wait till October when I had some more idea of what's going on. I mean, I think bold would just be too overwhelming at this juncture.
Oh, so you're gonna let the rest of us cry tonight? Because we
No,
signed up?
I mean, hey.
Join the group, man. This is
I
all
think
we're
it's
gonna
great
all-
that you plunged in, but I talked to Rick about it. He said,
If you would have gone yesterday to the free one, the instructor would have convinced you that you're taking it, regardless of what Rick said.
Wasn't Rick there too?
Rick's doing it.
Yeah.
Rick Dobbs doing
yeah,
it too.
he's done it before.
Yeah, we did the last
I
one.
rolled the dice big time because like the whole point of this is that you're gonna do so much business that a class for me should be free, right?
Definitely.
I totally don't have the money
If you do the activities.
if I do the activities.
And that's where when you're challenging the numbers, that every single person in the room is going to do 14. No, they're not, because they're not going to do the activities. So it's up to you to do the activities and be one of the people in the room that does.
Yeah.
You
So
know
if
what I
I
mean?
go out for 2 hours, 5 days a week, and I door knock, phone call, hand out business cards, whatever, I'm gonna find 14 contracts. I believe that's possible.
Well,
I'm gonna
and
go
there's
through and do it. And although actually, if I spend 2 hours a day, I'll probably have way more than 100.
now keep in mind, just going through the motions of an activity doesn't guarantee your results.
No, you gotta.
What are your scripts that you're using? What's your mindset when you're doing it?
Yeah.
You could be saying the right words and be talking like this. Is anybody going to buy anything from you? You know what I mean? Or is anybody going to want to meet with you? Or you can have all the excitement in the world and fumble and jumble, and that's okay, and that's going to happen, and that's going to be perfectly fine.
But people are probably not gonna sign a contract. They're gonna be like, "What's up with that?"
And if you can't, so you know what I mean. I'm not guaranteeing you that if you lead gen for 2 hours a week that you're going to get the results. I'm guaranteeing you that if you do all the activities, the scripts and the role play, and you practice the scripts, and you go through the mindset activities, and you have confidence, then you're increasing your chances.
Yeah. And so see, for me, like if I get 5, or even if I just get the 4 and make it 3,
Right.
I win.
Right.
Right. But if I can get 7, 8, 9, holy crap, that's like
Even
That's
if you
my entire
even if
teacher's
you
salary.
got one that you wouldn't have gotten without bold, it pays for itself 10 times. Right, Vicky?
I think a lot of times too, it's easy to have the false pretense to think that just because this program set in place that, you know.
because mine is
That's exactly what it is.
Somebody may come back to you after the whole is over, it doesn't mean it's a complete wash.
Yes.
What you can take from it.
That's exactly right.
yesterday, Mike Weissman, they said, they talked about
I
how
really-
it kept going until the snowball started to, the
Yeah.
dam broke and it all started to happen.
That's right.
Because of his persistence.
Right.
Mother.
It's not always immediate.
I handle objections all the time, like, if I'm like, hey, you want beer?
That happened with me the first year I was selling cars.
So what I'm
Like
hearing
I was
is
12 people in the group, I was like number 11. But first year, but
I could get
after
you
the
here.
year, I really felt comfortable, I was right up to the top.
How you feeling?
No questions asked.
People learn at different rates.
Yes, sir, they do.
So that's not
For me, I can't wait to
that's not stress.
I have a couple of contracts under the belt.
That's right, that's right.
Work and
You're so programmed that
The classroom's
a difficult
important. I
conversation.
understand actually doing it.
Right.
When it's like,
Yeah.
that's the way I.
All right, Let's go ahead and get started.
You got it, my friend.
Are we ready to rock and roll?
Absolutely.
All right, that's what I like to hear. Good morning. My name is Joe, for those of you who don't know me. And I will be guiding you through your blast off, Ignite Session 12. Here we go. Let's get started. Let's go ahead and bust out our binders, our Ignite binders. Get yourself to the beginning of Chapter 12, Mission 12, and we will get started. All right, you're going to see right there on page 5, today's expectations. Let's quickly review what we're going to be going over today. That way you know what you're getting yourself into. All right, Cappers in Training. Today we're going to talk about what you've accomplished so far in Ignite. It's always important to look back and reflect on what progress we've made. Adults, we're all guilty of this, sometimes have a hard time realizing what we've learned. Right? And so we're going to talk about that today. We're going to review some of the things that we've learned so that you can realize what great progress you've made so far over the last couple of weeks. We're going to evaluate wins and opportunities, and then we're going to find those areas for improvement and make adjustments as needed. We will develop habits for tracking your numbers, what numbers to track, how to track them, and the importance of tracking your numbers. Now, by now, we've been doing this for a few weeks. You're probably already starting to see some patterns, hopefully. And so we're going to dive into those a little bit deeper today. And then last and certainly not least, if any of you have worked with me, which is all of you, you know that I'm big in taking action steps. Let's identify what are the 3, 4, 5 next steps that we need to take to blast our business off into success. See what I did there? That was good, right?
Oh, embedded command. Embedded command.
Embedded command. There we go. Perfect. Okay, moving right along. I'm going to stick to the slideshow-ish.
Okay.
If I can figure out how to use it. Loading. There we go. Okay, so as always, every class, we'll start with the mission number 12. So let's take out our handy dandy mission packet. And let's review. Thank you, man. You think there would be one of those in here? Should have, Mike?
Yeah.
All right, so we all have our missions out. Daily 10-4. What are the activities?
10 notes.
10 notes.
No cards.
Put 10 new contacts in the data.
Database. In order to put 10 more people in your database, you should probably do what?
Connect with 10 new.
Connect with 10 more people, right? So connect with 10 people, put them in your database, write them a handwritten note or letter, and then what's the last one?
Preview 10 homes.
Preview 10 homes. So let's talk about what we've actually been accomplishing, not only over the last week, or last 2 days rather. Let's talk about what we've accomplished over the last 4 weeks in Ignite. So who wants to share with us what they've done so far in Ignite? Go ahead, Lee.
I've actually built a pretty good sized data bank.
Nice.
That, you know, I had not very much to begin with, but just by touching the few people that you know, how easy it is to have that branch out and branch out and branch out.
Can you be more specific with how big is pretty big?
I went from, I think I had like 45 things on my phone to 140 in the data bank now.
So you've grown at least 100 since Ignite started.
Correct.
Excellent. That's fantastic. Who else? Alan.
I've seen a lot of houses in Lisbon and Topsom, which is right in my territory. I have a pretty good idea of the market value out there.
Right.
And what's moving.
How's that going to be important when you start working with buyers and sellers?
Because I'm going to know the inventory. I'm going to be able to tell them, like, is this, if I'm with a buyer, I can tell them, is this priced right, high, low? And that's all really, really important. To know that and be confident with what you're looking at is going to make a big difference for them. They're gonna feel
Absolutely.
good about writing an offer with them.
I absolutely agree. Who else? How about the side of the room?
I've been connecting with people that I used to work with at Main Home and Design, and made some really great connections there. One of them, guy is looking for foreclosures and stuff like that, so I'll be working with him on stuff which I can tell you more about later. And then another person where I used to work with, that she showed me these $1 million penthouses and on Newbury Street, and where they're building more and that kind of stuff,
Mhm.
and looking at other ones in that, just to know the inventory
Sure.
and that kind of thing, like
Right.
what you can get in that price range, you know, like
Mhm.
for somebody that wants to downsize or be in town,
Mhm.
or that kind of thing, and then going to open houses and stuff like that, so
Perfect.
inventory stuff.
Excellent. Who here has written a note or a letter or a card to somebody? Should be everybody, right? Where did we get our cards? Just out of curiosity, just to share our ideas. What kind of cards are we using?
I just used plain blank.
Index? Are we talking about like index cards?
No, it's actually a piece of lined paper, just a small.
Just thank you, Karen.
Very nice.
Piece of paper?
I stole my wife's thank you card.
What's the front, Matt? What's on the front of that one? Is that feathers?
It is feathers.
Fantastic. How much was one of those?
I mean, I think a whole box was, $4 or $5 or something.
So probably about 3 cents a piece.
Yeah.
Dollar store.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Dollar store. You don't have to go spend a lot of money right now on getting a customized card. You can if you'd like, and if you have the money. However, don't feel obligated. Go to the dollar store, pick up 100 of them. Excellent. Have you ever received a handwritten card in the mail?
Yeah, the other day.
Did you open it?
Yeah, it was really nice.
Did you read it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and look, she's smiling. Because how often do you get a handwritten card in the mail?
Not
very.
Not very often, right?
Was it from a real estate agent?
No, it's from a customer that my husband built their house.
Oh, okay, that's great.
That's nice, yeah. See?
So you have that impact when you make those decisions, just much like she did on the receiving end of receiving that card. So think about that when you're doing it. Perfect. All right. Practicing scripts with a partner. All of you yesterday at Bold were reminded how important it is to practice your scripts and your role play, right? So do we all have accountability partners?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I see a lot of head shaking. Yes.
I still need to get one.
What about Rick?
I'm gonna ask Rick if.
Only takes 5 minutes.
It really impressed upon me when I heard some people that have been here for literally decades still do scripts. all the
Absolutely.
time. And I didn't realize, I thought that was something you did when you first started. And
Nope. And here's why. Because right now you're learning a certain set of scripts, right? New to Keller Williams, new to real estate, check out this technology, how about some referrals? Maybe you've already moved on to calling expired listings. Once you've mastered expired listings and you've tapped into that whole resource, maybe you move on to for sale by owners, maybe you've opened up a whole new set of scripts. Now you're giving listing presentations and you run into objections, so you learn more objection handling scripts, and then you start working with buyers. You see what I mean? There's a lot of different areas, and you're not going to master them all at once, so master one, and then another, and then another.
yeah.
And that's going to happen over your career, and you can always get sharper. So that's a great aha, that you're never going to be done with your dialogue.
What percentage of Keller Williams agents would you say practice scripts every day or every week?
I don't dare to put a number on
Or
that.
would you say
I don't do
a
that.
higher percentage of the top producing agents probably do that?
I will tell you that the top. Guess who comes into my office and does scripts and role play? Cash. He's one of the most successful teams here, right?
Yeah.
Right. Everybody. Cash is like the scripts guy. He's been in business literally 35 years, and he still does scripts. And a lot of times, to the point where he's helping train and develop and grow newly licensed agents.
Helen remarked that everything she says is script, so pretty much when she was teaching her class a week or two ago.
Right, on the buyer presentation, right?
Yeah.
Paul, if they give it like a professional athlete, they're not gonna stop practicing.
Yeah.
They still got 5 years left in their career doing it. They still do it.
They just keep at it.
And they just keep at it.
Until they retire.
It's a great analogy.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
It's like exercise for the brain.
Yeah.
And do you feel like, could you see how, if you had a response to any objection a buyer or seller could throw at you, how that would improve your business?
Yeah, when somebody talked about the script, when a person selling their home wants to cut your commission down,
Yeah.
she said, well, if I gave away my commission that easily, how do you feel? What would I do with the price of your home?
Right.
You know? And I thought, wow, yeah. I mean, if I was asking someone to take 1% less, yeah, they're going to sell my house for
Right.
just to get a quick.
Exactly correct.
Yeah.
It's another great aha.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to move right along. Sign up for Bold when it comes to your area. Everybody can check that box, right?
October.
On my goal, the two in the front. All right, let's move right along. Pearls of wisdom. So, 5 successful agents in the Market Center, and ask for what advice they would give to you to be effective and the secret to longevity. So I'm curious to know who actually completed this, not necessarily in the past 2 days, rather in your past 3, 4, 5 weeks, however long you've been at the company.
I feel like I talked to way more than 5.
Okay, tell us about some of those conversations, Alan.
I remember after it's Don's class, right? Don's the guy from Thompson.
Don LaRue.
Don LaRue, yeah. After his class, I talked to him, and I said, like, so where am I going to be in a year? And he told me a little bit about where he's been and working in Thompson, because he's right in the same neighborhood I am. And it was really, really cool, because I think almost everyone who came in, I didn't necessarily have a one-on-one conversation with them, but they all came in and they told us, like, here's where what you need to do, here's where you're going to be. And the 80% statistic was kind of scary. A few people mentioned like 80% of us are not going to be here.
It's not quite 80%, it is high though.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, so I really
Between
need
60
to
and
work,
70%.
work to make this work, right?
Right, and what is that
There's a lot of
statistic?
effort.
That's the number of agents that get their sales agent license and never get their associate broker license.
Right.
So at some point in their first 2 years, they
Run out of steam. They quit. They
They-
don't fail, they quit.
they quit
They quit.
because what's the
You can't fail in real estate.
you can't fail in real estate unless you quit, right?
That's right.
Yeah, you can't fail.
You can only quit. Excellent. All right. So that's the mission statement. Let's go back to our binders. We can go ahead and put that away for now. Vic, you guys have yours? Did we all bring our laptops today? I see a few out. Okay, perfect. Excellent. So moving right along. Guess what part of the day we are on? If you flip your page to should be 7-8. It has what's the top of that page, Paul?
Your turn to lead generate for business.
8. Page 8. Your turn. Lead generate for business. So what we're going to do is we're going to kick off a couple affirmations. We haven't done those yet in bold. However, we did hear Diana talking about affirmations yesterday. Did we not?
Yep.
Okay, and we're going to watch some videos today on those as well. So we're going to jump right into it this morning with some lead generation, and I know how excited you guys are about that. Right?
Yep.
Because we all just learned a brand new bold script. We started being more conscious about our mindset and our attitude. And so with that being said, let's go ahead and all together say, I am comfortable making calls
I am comfortable
Daily.
making calls daily
because I'm
I
helping
know
people.
I'm helping people.
All right, one more time all together. I am comfortable making calls daily because I know I'm helping people. So let's think about that for a second. Let's not just say it. Let's think about what it means, and then we can mean it. What are somebody's thoughts on that affirmation?
Well, that are.
No, go ahead.
I
Go ahead,
was just
Karen.
gonna say, you're helping people, like, let's just say there's somebody that's renting and they're, they're throwing their money away.
Right.
When they could just be, adding equity and,
Right.
towards themselves, so something that they can own. That would be helping someone.
Absolutely. They may not know that you can get a 3.5% loan or a 5% down loan, right?
Or $3,500 for its closing.
Or $3,500 for closing
Right.
costs.
I've dropped that number on a few people and they go, oh, I knew they gave some money, but really?
Mm-hmm. You're talking about the first-time home buyer,
Yeah, the first time home buyer program.
the class that you can do through Avista? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
Yep. You go to a class. It's like 8 hours.
yep.
They bring in a home inspector, a lender, a realtor, a few other people. You sit through it, and then you qualify for $3,500 credit. Guess who's taught one of those classes?
This goyer.
This guy. Why? Because what better way than to just show up with no lead generation and be in front of 50 people that all want to buy a house? And now I'm their realtor educating 50 people at one time. Think about what an effective use of time that is. Get out there and network. I didn't just happen to get invited, you know what I mean? I went out there, I found, and I sought after this opportunity. Matt, go ahead.
The 3,500 is income dependent, just so you guys know.
Right.
There's a tab. It's like $100,000 or something
Yeah.
you're right.
For Portland, it's less than other places. Like in my market, it's like 80, I think.
Perfect. All right. So without further ado, we have, who brought their, just out of curiosity, who brought their paperwork from yesterday, or just happens to have it with them, from Bolt? We have that packet, looks like this.
Yeah.
You might have it.
Let me take that out really fast. I'll let you borrow mine. I'll let you both borrow mine. Until the next board class in 2 weeks. So, how did our calls go yesterday? Let's recap really fast before we start dialing. How did our calls go yesterday? Well, let me ask you this. Who called somebody and used this script?
I didn't use a script, I called people, but then I left. But,
Okay. What script did you use?
I couldn't connect with that script. I can't say church. It doesn't fit well.
Replace church with whatever is relevant to the
Whatever
person you're
is,
calling.
I guess.
Whether a gym or
I don't use church every time.
Or that I'm in a competition. It doesn't feel right to me to say that's not the words that will come out of my mouth. So if I could have worked on that script.
But by using the word competition, it almost puts more on them.
Yeah.
You're like, let me help you. You're in a competition? I told people I was winning a trip to Hong Kong. Just I needed money. They're like, hey, let's get you to Hong Kong.
But
Whatever it takes, right? Because I think it's true. Like even if you're just doing charity, like you or selling Girl Scout cookies, you're like, hey, we need some help with this. It's important to
We're
us.
trying to
They'll
do
be like,
this.
oh yeah, I think I can help.
yeah,
You know, it just kind of lights a fire under
right,
there.
yeah.
Karen, I would agree with you that when I first got started in real estate and I got this same exact strip, over a year ago, I started looking at this and saying, I don't connect with this. I don't want to tell people I'm in a competition. And it wasn't until Cash Wiseman and I were practicing scripts together. He's been in real estate for 35 years, and he says every time he calls somebody, he tells them he's in a competition. And I heard him on the phone in bold telling people he's in a competition. I don't know how old Cash is. He's been in real estate for 35 years, so I'll let you do some rough math. He still uses the competition script. So what I would do is I would suggest to you, I would challenge you perhaps, to give it a try, as uncomfortable as it's going to be the first couple of times. Give it a try and see what kind of results you get.
Okay.
Feel it out.
Oh.
Now, I'm not saying you have to use this particular script today. Ignite has another one in the binder for you. This is one that we all just got yesterday. This is a great place to start because our sphere of influence are the people most likely to help us succeed, right?
Right.
What did Denny say yesterday about calling our sphere of influence?
Don't be afraid.
It's rude if you don't.
Yeah.
It's rude if you don't. Low risk, high reward, right?
Right.
They're very unlikely to reject you, and they're very likely to help you. That's why we teach, start with your sphere of influence. Because they might be thinking about buying or selling, somebody they know might be buying or selling. If you know they don't go to church, don't use church. If you know they're in a volleyball league after work in the evenings, hey, do you know anybody from work or that volleyball league that you're in?
Right.
See what I mean? You can customize it based on who you're talking to.
Yeah.
Trying to change too much else, right?
I did use the tone though. I went to the grocery store and I used the tone. Buy a home. Buy
a home.
To somebody I knew.
Yeah. Embedded commands,
It
right?
worked though. I mean, it helped. I could see where she was starting to think.
Right.
You know, you could see that those pause and like.
I'm trying to
Did you
enroll
go-
my husband.
I didn't go
Nancy,
to
so
that.
Clapping.
Yeah, the rhythm becomes pretty natural pretty quickly. Like,
Yeah.
buy a home, sell a
Sell
home,
home.
or invest in real estate.
Right.
And did you notice that when we were watching Diana's videos, you didn't even realize she was commanding you until he pointed it out?
Right.
And then you were like, holy crap. She
Yeah.
was doing it the whole time. It's so natural for her at this point. The way that you'll get to that point is by practicing. All right, so it's 9 o'clock on the dot. For the next 20 minutes, we're all going to pick up the phone and call people. You should have been doing this every Ignite session. If you didn't, you're certainly not going to get away with not doing it in my Ignite session. So take out your phones, start dialing. We're going to regroup in 20 minutes. Let's see who can get the most referrals and or appointments. Smile and dial. It's rude if you don't. Hey, good morning. I'm calling for Sam. Hey, Sam, Joe Quartrich. You calling from Keller Williams Realty. I got your phone number from a mutual friend of ours, Anthony Simone. Yeah, Anthony D. Simone. Devin, is that how you say it?
Hey, good morning, Lenny.
Anyway, hey, long story short, he told me that you were thinking about buying a house, and I'm a realtor, so I was just calling to see how I could help you.
Call back. I'll be around my phone today.
You are?
Or
Oh, okay. May I ask which agency?
I look forward to talking to you. Take care.
Kelly Brewer. Oh, okay. Perfect. Well, hey, I appreciate your time. Best of luck to you. All right, have a great day. Bye.
Good morning, Jason. This is Lee Grant. How are you?
Hi, Dad.
I'm doing
Hi,
well.
hey,
Last
this
from
is
the past, my friend.
from Aflac. How are you?
How are things going?
Good,
Oh,
good.
well,
I'm just
I'm
following up
actually in, real
to
estate.
make sure everything got taken care of with the
Yeah.
claim
I'm
paperwork.
still doing therapy in Yarmouth. I still got
See if
a
they were-
office in Yarmouth. I do. But I'm kind of shifting careers over to real estate. So when I saw your number, I thought, oh my God, what an incredible contact to see if Jason knows anybody that's looking to.
Oh,
buy.
that's a good
So,
start. Well,
that's the real estate.
Dad, I also wanted to mention something else. I'm still going to be doing that for a while, but I also just started selling real estate with Keller Williams.
Hey, Chrissy. Karen.
Yeah.
Calling.
Yeah.
Is she-
Well, thank you, and I just,
Okay.
I'm just reaching out to people that I know, just to let you know that I'm in the business, and if you ever hear of anyone that's buying or selling real estate, it would be tremendous help to me if you wouldn't mind passing my information along, and would you mind if I stopped at the store sometime just to drop a couple cards off?
Exactly. So, how are things with you?
Well, I'm working out of the Portland office, but they're in the process of opening an office in Brunswick right now. And I'm primarily going to work in like Wiscasset, Arizona, Newcastle, Bath, and of course Booth Bay too.
That's awesome, that's awesome.
Yes.
You're looking
Yep.
into
So, give me a call.
Residential, I'm still gonna keep my groups and service them as far as that, but I just wanted to reach out to everyone and, you know, let people know that I'm in real estate now.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right, well, thank you, Deb. I'll stop in and drop some cards off the next time I'm in
I'm right
Blueprint.
next door to her, to Dr. Brown's. Yeah.
Thank you
Next
very
door.
much. Have a great
Next door.
weekend. All right, bye-bye.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, if you wanna figure out a day and time that works best for her, and, shoot me a text, I'll definitely, put her on for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. I can give you that. 75. You could either, you know, you could just call it to me if you wanted to, sure. You figure out what time, I can just give you my
Hey, Josh.
address and you can just pop in the phone.
Hey, not much, man. How you doing? Oh man, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Did you work last night or what?
Yep.
Probably from the airplane or something.
I don't know, probably, yeah. Yeah, cause I don't wanna, you know. I
That's
don't
sweet,
wanna-
dude. How'd you like
Hi,
to-
Mike.
You know,
Hi, Mike. This is Paul Foster. How are you?
Hope you're well.
Oh, not too much. How are you doing?
Yeah,
What do you
that's
like?
cool.
Well, I just wanted to reach out to you, Mike.
Yeah,
I
I've been
just
there
started,
before.
I'm very
It's
excited.
like
I just
Coronado
started
and
working
checked out
with
that
Keller Williams Real Estate.
Company, McCollums, and.
Oh gosh, yeah, he's 27, and, him and his girlfriend have a place in Saco.
That was my buddy Rick Dow who recruited me to sell with Keller Williams, and he posted it on my timeline. And to tell you the truth, I'm wicked familiar with Facebook. I'm just learning now my way around.
Since I was 10.
But I was amazed when many people responded to that posting he put on
My dad
there.
retired. I don't know.
And we listed a house on a Monday, and I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
It sold on Saturday, the following Saturday, and it
42
was just
years.
so fast.
Bunch of kids, you know,
I know.
parents or anything like that in your group.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, things
And so,
start
like,
heating
well,
up.
retirement
But I just
community,
wanted to
you know,
reach out to you, Mike, and just
No,
ask you if you ever hear of anyone that's buying or selling real estate.
There's just one for a
keeping
month.
me in mind.
You remember Mike
Just
Kinnair?
maybe pass my name along, and I was wondering if I might be able to
Yeah,
mail you
yeah, his
a couple of my cards.
parents rented that for a month. Yeah, and my mom had a few police comes. You know.
Oh, she
But,
did.
yeah, I'm happy I went.
Oh, well, I guess that takes care of that.
Beer and drove a golf cart.
What's your stepsister's name?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm terrible.
Yeah, I met her here about a month ago. Very nice, and she and I have corresponded on Facebook too.
Good morning, Betty, this is
And
Lee Grant. How are you?
well then, I guess you're gonna be taken care of at least in the future, I'm sure.
Okay, good, how have you
Yeah, it
been?
was pissed. I was so bad. I almost got parred. Like,
Oh, I mean,
the
she'll
rest
probably
of the time.
reach out to you to ask for referrals, but. Yeah. Okay.
Well, my uncle and
Well,
my
Mike,
dad,
it was
like-
nice chatting with you anyway.
His
And
swing
do
was
you
terrible
still
too,
have your
but he was
policies?
actually pretty good. Yeah, he'd come in at like, I don't know how the hell he was hitting this ball, and he'd go like 200 yards. Like, how do you do it, man? It was like,
Sure,
it was like hitting
sure,
that
I
with the
understand
finger
that.
back and
Yeah,
forth,
I've
that's
heard
that
that
myself.
what works and what doesn't.
Yeah.
Well, Mike, it was very nice talking with you, and I hope you have a good weekend.
So,
That's all I can ask.
Yeah, I thought I'd call.
All right, thank you, Mike.
I'm in like a summer real estate class right now. And they're like, hey, like, see, it's a competition. You know, help people, and ask if they know anyone that is in the buyer stuff, basically, if we get 10.
I'm calling because I saw you had a property for sale.
So like, use it as a chance to catch up with people and then see if they.
Oh, so listen.
I haven't talked to Josh.
Oh, okay.
So sorry, I figured I'd call and see.
Oh, okay, I must have missed it, I have it in, past expireds, who's your agent, who's listing it?
Absolutely.
No
problem.
Vitalis, okay,
No, that's
thank you very
okay.
much, that's
I
great.
appreciate
All right.
you and think about it for me.
Yeah,
And of
well, no,
course,
that's
if
fine.
there's
I mean,
something
it's worth knowing, but at the same time, at least you have to catch up, you know.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Jenny.
Plus, Jason's in it too, so I'm sure he knows a lot of the same friends. Yeah, I see him around.
I don't.
Hey, good Matt, how are you doing?
Okay.
Good, good. Hey, I just wanted to call and catch up with you and let you know
Where'd
that I
you
just
see- where'd you
started
see
working
Jen?
with Keller Williams Real Estate.
Did you arrest him or something?
Yeah, thank you.
Slowly.
Still gonna keep my insurance license.
It's a lot of fun, I get to help
I'm very excited about
I
this.
bet. 36, I'm gonna say,
Well, I think it will be, but, you know, I just gotta make sure that I make it work. And, put a lot of time and effort into getting
Nice.
into it.
I'm going out tonight there, cause Randy's
Well,
coming down.
Matt, I just wanted to reach out and ask you if
Yeah, I
you
don't know,
might
it's just
be
like.
able to think of somebody that was interested in buying or
I
selling
know,
real
dude,
estate.
that was the best
They
thing
could
we ever
use
did.
a referral or if you would keep me in mind in the
I'm gonna try to
future.
find
Let's
out.
hold back then,
Comes
thank
up.
you. Okay, bye-bye.
Yeah, right? It's just like, worming across the yard.
Well, I'm gonna be mostly between like Brunswick
Yeah.
and Wisconsin,
Well, hopefully
Wisconsin. You know
you
what, my
know,
license
yeah,
covers the
any
whole
help.
state.
Can
And I work with someone that is so
hi, my name's
in York
Alan
County.
exactly.
So I
You know, good-
mean, really anywhere in Maine.
Yeah, you need good balance, man.
Unless it's Aroostook County.
I was
Cool,
wondering if
man.
this is.
You know, that might be a little
Yeah,
far
I'm back at Worlds every now and then.
to go, but-
To there.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, okay.
if
So
you
it's
ever do
not-
think of anybody, I'd really appreciate it, and I've got your address from Aflac, and is it still 6 Sherburne Street?
Yeah, I got one last night.
Would you mind send your card to Dale, and just one of my
Yeah,
business
she
cards?
did Westbrook.
Okay, I see.
So if you missed out, give me a call back. We'll be here within you.
Thank you so
Like I
much.
said, Westbrook is best, bro.
Okay, well, I'm looking for a listing
Yeah.
in town right
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
Would you be interested in
All right,
maybe
well, sounds
the
good.
equipment to do
Oh,
that?
I see, all right, yeah,
See if
I'm
I
kind
can
of on kind of north of that. Yeah.
Well, can you tell me a little bit about the property?
Oh,
Yeah?
oh, what are you doing? Oh, with who?
Good morning, John.
Wow. Oh, so they set appointments up for you?
Help me out with something.
Yeah, well, I mean, I do work with a lot of
Geez, that's
investors who
nice.
specialize in properties like that, for a good cut. So I might be able to find someone who would be interested.
Wow.
No, you can't do that.
Well, you never know, right? That's something I'll certainly keep in mind.
Right, that's the price point for an investor, right? Okay.
I'm doing great. I'm just calling.
No, you can't, right? 'Cause you need to have some equity.
Hey, Wayne, this is Matt. Just calling to say I
Yeah.
sell your
So,
unit. See if you still like my home.
Oh, I
If
see.
there's anything.
I would really like to look at it if you don't mind.
It's not always
Would you
easy.
be okay if I made an appointment to come out and take a look at it and
So-
see if we might be able to work it out?
Oh, yeah, starting
Oh,
as a
well,
building.
congratulations,
Okay.
Matt, that's awesome. And I will,
Yeah,
I'll just
I
look
can
card in the
totally
mail
flexible
and
work
it's
with
nice
this.
catching up
So
with you, it's been a little while.
next Friday.
Okay, Matt, have a great weekend.
Early morning.
All right, bye-bye.
Okay, Friday noon, alright. Hey.
People work for a living now?
I try to.
Okay. What are you doing up in Fort Kent?
Sure. Just wanted to connect with you,
Just-
to
Oh, okay.
and, it's been great to follow you.
Wow, that's a good deal.
Yeah, gotcha.
I missed you so much, you were actually great to work with.
Yeah.
No, it's okay.
Anyway, just wanted to let you know that.
Have you identified your builder already?
You want me to call you Friday morning or Thursday night? Just make sure we're on.
Yeah.
No problem. And I have, your name is Dan Libby, is that right?
That's so awesome, I'm glad to hear that.
Okay, Dan Libby. And what's the best phone number to reach you?
Still working in real estate,
Okay, the one I
last year was
called.
worth as well, $500.
All right, so I'll call you, Thursday night, see what we're on. And,
Yeah. Have you given any other thought into digging into
yeah, that
real
sounds
estate?
great. I'd love to come take a look at it and see if I can help you out. Hey, no problem. Have a wonderful day. Bye.
Yeah.
Dan Libby's at the refrigeration.
Yeah, this is Lee Financial.
I didn't ask him what he does. I'll ask him if he can my expired. I probably won't be able to sell it, but you never know. He's pretty convinced he can sell it. I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna try to price it when
Hi,
it's
can you
on.
look at Justin, that was Paul Foss.
He always wants to
I said, it's rough mentions that I'm working on 3 acres real estate also. And I just wanted to reach out and say hi and let you know that I'm doing this as well as my previous position.
I'll ask him.
So I'll try to catch up with you another time, or if you get a chance, you can give me a call back.
He's not one
So
for
thanks, and have a great day, Jessica. Bye-bye.
Yeah, yeah.
He's leaving at 4:10, so I thought he said he was going at 4:10.
Really? Interesting.
Hey, that's progress.
Progress?
Alright, someone else needs to help with
Right. Right. And you know it was approved here in the state of Maine too, correct? Yeah. Right. Right. I remember you mentioning earlier or last year about the home, her hometown in Florida.
Good morning.
Oh, good, okay.
This is Lee Grant from Callaway.
Gotcha. Okay.
Hi, I'm calling. I wanted to give you a phone call,
No, I mean, I was really just calling to check in. We hadn't talked to you in a while. I was going through my contacts. I saw your name, and I just wanted to see. I know you had a lot of stuff going on.
Hey, Craig, how's it going?
and, obviously you know real estate stuff.
Same thing, still at it, still at,
Anybody in,
but, I you work here.
This is conversations that we have before, like better work.
Well, not too much, I just wanted to share some news with you, I just started working with Keller Williams Real Estate.
Well, see, now you
And down here in Brooklyn, the class is going. And part of the class is to call some people that I know and just let them know that we're in real estate. And I don't know, did I mention that to you when I saw
I've
you
done a
over
lot
by, Mike's? That was, geez, time flies, was that like September or October? Oh my gosh, time does fly. But yeah, so I'm working with Keller Williams, and I just wanted to reach out to you and ask you if you would keep it in mind if you hear of anyone that's buying or selling real estate. If you wouldn't mind passing my name and number along to them. Oh, I appreciate that. This business is so it's so dependent on referrals. And could I send you a card, Greg? Because it might be a little while before I see you.
Working through a transaction, filling out documents.
One of my business cards. What's
Yeah.
Brooklyn? Just like Brooklyn, New York. Brooklyn Heights.
I know, it's a lot of money, I've expanded my
Thompson?
team, so I did have a few people, so financially, it turned out a lot.
What are you up
It'd be a lot
to?
less
Thank you
because
very
I
much, Greg.
expanded
What
my
are you up to
team.
today?
I think
Where are
I
you
have
working?
4 people, and so my team and I, the people that I brought on, have been working on projects together, and I just.
I remember,
live in the
Greg,
first
when I
one,
saw you were just getting ready to go to Florida for like a month.
The other 2 have been profitable, so it's definitely paid for itself by far.
Yeah, you had a good time down there?
It is, and you know what's crazy is that I consistently
wouldn't that be
reach out to
nice?
people to just say, hey, I've got MLS access, I've got a lot of resources in real estate, let me know how I can help.
Well, I think in
got
another
answers
day or
from
two,
one
we're
person.
supposed to get a lot out of here.
And then that person sent out an email to everybody and said, hey,
I know.
let's all get together and brainstorm and kind of have a little mastermind, and I was the only person that responded to that. So you got all these people making this massive investment, and apparently not doing much with it, which is too bad.
Oh.
Well, I appreciate
Yeah.
you saying that. It is indeed, it definitely is.
Yeah, actually, Celia's in the Philippines right now.
I'll leave that to that.
Yeah, well, that's what I heard. I haven't been there much, but I did hear that taking his
Well, honestly, I'm open
spring
to
trip.
it. I'm open to it. Just I'm open to a lot of time.
I'm sure his son is keeping an eye on the place.
Long time.
Chris, yep.
I'm being procrastinating my
So,
patience.
but, well, Greg, I'm gonna let you go here, but thanks for your time, and I'll just drop the card in the mail to you, and hopefully, I'll see you when you're over in the Wiscasset area, stop into the world famous, Goofy Lab. All right, Greg, thank you very much.
Sure.
Same here, bye-bye.
I have my phone number, I'll talk to you soon. Alright, you too, bye-bye. Alright. It looks like we're all in between calls. Fantastic. We'll let Karen finish up out there. Does anybody have some good news for us?
Listing appointment.
Hey-o! Listing appointment. Excellent.
Excellent.
Who'd you call?
Daniel Libby.
Well, I didn't mean his name. Sphere of influence?
Expired.
No kidding. Expired listing. Wonderful. We'll just wave Karen down.
And where did you get the number for that?
I got this one on Vulcan, but you can get it from any expired.
So you're on a Vulcan?
I bought Vulcan. It's not worth it to me. It's $300 a month. I can't use $300 worth of calling. I know, see, that's what I was, you know, like, if I had 1,000 contacts, this would be, if I had 500 contacts and I was calling 500 cold numbers every week, this would be amazing, and that's what Mike does.
Mhm.
He's dialed 5,000 numbers, had 2,500 conversations.
Yeah.
It's just constant churn. So it's funnel is immense.
My
But
friend asked him,
for
I'm not
me,
the.
What's the
I'm
name
not
of the
good.
form when you sit
Yeah,
down?
and-
talk?
and-
I call it buyer lead
My
sheet.
Buyer
lead
lead sheet.
Or a buyer
looking at that,
questionnaire.
I mentioned
Is that on,
It's in the-
But there are
is
other
it
ones.
forms or is it in
I'm gonna
the,
try,
in your office?
The PC one.
Talk to him.
I can do you one better.
Because
Well, I think
I'm
when
coming
PC
up
share drive.
with one.
well, I
What is
fed, cause he was
PC
doing
share
open
drive?
house, he fed
Is
me
that just a
340
website
numbers
that-
from
You have access to it.
Okay.
I emailed you the
You'll
link.
look, there's all kinds of.
When you first got started?
Oh, I still have
If
it in my mail.
you can
There should
really
just be a
increase
little
it, I can dial
drop,
probably.
if you go into
40
your
numbers an
Gmail,
hour if I'm
you'll
just
find the
going
drive,
through,
just
like,
click on
Okay.
it and it'll be
plug
on
it
there.
in.
I'll find it,
Dial.
I'll find it, thank you.
I
It's called
did
buyer lead sheet.
the
Buyer lead
research
sheet.
Agent
already.
resources.
I'm meeting with someone this week,
Getting 3 or 4
get all this.
Yeah.
You need to be in that shirt drive looking around at all the resources that are offered.
Okay.
Because all too often people are like, hey, I need this thing, or I don't have this thing, and it's being provided, they just don't know it.
Okay.
That one, no, actually, that one was, cause I was calling Booth Bay in March.
I didn't make any.
If you don't have access to it, Charlotte and I can resend you the link.
One pays for it.
Oh, okay.
Once you
All
get
right.
the link, you need to bookmark it so that you can easily access it later.
Okay. I just got a different computer yesterday, and I started to bring it with me until I realized that it's bigger than my carrying case.
Oh, okay.
So I gotta go, well, anyway, this is the last.
Do you still have your
Just
email?
Oh, yeah.
If you log in there, I bet my email's still in there. too.
Okay.
Unless you deleted it from your
I
try.
may have mistakenly, well.
It would have been right when you joined the PC.
Okay.
Came to the company.
Yeah.
Why are you calling me? Oh, I was on bulk. Which, by the way,
Yeah.
because they don't want people to think that these people selling my
Can we drop the heat a
Yeah.
little bit?
What's that?
Are you guys cold? Can we drop the heat a little bit?
70?
Is 70 in here?
No, it's not
It doesn't
70
feel
in here.
It's the room.
That's what it says.
The room is just, yeah.
This morning it was a
Yeah, but I don't
sun.
believe that. Do you
Let's
believe
cook
that?
it.
But it's 70 in here?
Maybe 68?
If the sun comes back out, it'll be
Alright,
80.
sorry.
So.
Karen, if you pace like I do while you're making phone calls, you'll get really warm.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
And you'll get your steps in.
And you get your steps in.
I know, right?
Trish out there crushing this phone call, so we'll just give her another minute or two. She's out there getting 3 listing appointments.
You feel it, don't
I
you?
can
You
feel
feel
it.
it.
I
I
can feel
love
it.
it,
She's out there
man.
smiling. She's
That's
she's
exactly-
pacing.
Oh,
There's
shit.
no way that
Fantastic.
she's making a nail appointment. She is totally.
She better not be making.
Well, I didn't make any appointments, but I've got a couple of people that I know that said, hey, go ahead, send me a card in the mail. And
Excellent.
I'll keep you in mind.
So let's talk about that for a second. We're talking about the 36 touch program, right? Do I know what I mean when I say 36 touch?
36 pokes every year.
You poke them 36 times every year. So you just poked him once right now.
Okay.
When's the next time you're going to poke him?
Well, I've got his phone number. I've got his, 52 divided by 36.
Well, just based
would be
on
about
what you just told me about the lead. When's the next time he's going to hear from you?
He's going to get a card in the mail with my business card in it.
Boom.
Thank you for his time this morning.
Yep. And then when's the next time he's going to hear from you after that?
Approximately a week and a half to 2 weeks.
Yeah. And what are you going to say?
Did you get my card in the mail?
That's just it. You just got 3 touches out of 36.
Out of one simple.
Out of one simple interaction.
Yeah. Okay.
You ask him to send the cards. You send the cards, and then you follow up and say, "Hey, did you get those cards?"
And by the way, did you think of anybody?
And right. And by now you better have thought of somebody. Perfect. Setting appointments outside.
Close.
Referrals.
She texted me 7 people, so.
7 people.
Oh, jackpot!
Jackpot.
Wow. Somebody from your sphere.
Yes.
Look at that.
Yeah, swim mom connection.
Swim.
You have 7
Somebody that you
people?
swim. Somebody the
Somebody
kids
that my daughters
Okay.
swim with.
swim with.
Yeah.
Somebody that her daughter swims with. Just give her 7 people to call.
Wow.
And what's the script when you call that person?
hey, so-and-so, a mutual friend, gave me a number.
Yeah, did you hear me? That was my first call today.
Yep.
From a lead that I got yesterday.
And you got his name wrong.
No, I got the well, what happened was, I called my friend. My friend said, this is a guy's name that I got from my coworker. So I used the coworker's name, and I pronounced it wrong. He's like, who? So yes, I did get the name wrong. And then he told me he was signed with a realtor. He didn't say working with. If he said working with, what's my next question?
Have you signed?
Have you signed? He said, I already signed with an agent. And then I always, just out of curiosity, say, just to see if they're telling me the truth, I'll say, oh, what brokerage are they with? And he told me her name specifically, so, okay, great.
Okay, what if they weren't telling the truth?
Well, maybe I'd ask another question.
lying to me?
Maybe you track them down. No, maybe you just ask some more questions. Keep them on the phone, right? The more questions you can ask, the more you can build some rapport, maybe they'll open up to you. Maybe they're just rejecting you because they don't want to deal with it, and then maybe you can ask some questions. Logic makes people think, and then what? What's the second half of that? Emotion makes people act.
Yep.
So if you ask the right questions and get the emotion turning, maybe they'll be like, wow, I really do need this realtor. Perfect. How else did we do? How about this side of the room?
I thought I had a great lead. Somebody texted me, and there was a former client that I know him and his wife have, bought some properties to investments, and he's like, yeah, my cousin is right in there, KW. Do you know where that is? I'm like, no, where's KW? So,
Kelly Williams.
unfortunately, what's that?
Hey, has anybody had called somebody from your sphere of influence, maybe an old friend or coworker, and maybe you didn't even get a lead from them, and it was still just so great to catch up with them for a few minutes?
Sure.
Yeah.
I just had one of those calls. Somebody hadn't talked in a while, and it was just like a really cool catch up.
Yep.
And can I probably, or more likely, expect a referral from her in the future than I could have had I not called her?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, definitely.
And now I'm going to stay in touch with her again because now she's in my database, right?
So when you're calling people you haven't talked to in a while, like do you launch into the whole, hey, who do you know? Because I know I've called a few of those people, and what I've done instead is like, hey, you still like to walk, you want to walk, let's go out to coffee. And then I thought I'd launch into the whole thing because to me, I don't know, I would be irritated if somebody called me and like, hey, I haven't seen you in like 10 years, but do you know anybody who wants to buy or sell a house? Like, I would be like, no.
I tend to agree with you.
So, I kind of, I
ease into
go
it.
for a walk, let's go for coffee.
And I'm curious, well, I don't necessarily set an appointment with them. You can do that with certain people. However, if you have 200 people in your database, you're setting coffee, that's a lot of coffee.
Yeah.
That's a lot of time. Certain people, VIPs, absolutely.
Well, and that's why I said to her, I was like, hey, do you still like to walk?
Yeah.
Because most people in Falmouth, we don't always have great walkable neighborhoods. And so most people are like, oh, I'd love to come to the Woodlands and walk.
Ah.
So,
Okay, great.
Like, great, come over. We can do the 2 loops. And,
Right. Perfect.
And that's when I was like, okay.
Yep. Yeah, I agree though, for the most part, if I'm calling somebody, hey, how are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me about life.
Yeah.
What's going on with work? That's the 8-minute conversation we just had with the old friend. I asked her 10 questions about her life and work and her family, and what do you think her very next question to me was?
What are you doing?
And she knew I was in real estate already. Well, what have you been up to? Tell me how real estate's going. Wow, well, funny you should ask. Real estate's great. and then at the end, I asked for the business.
Yeah.
She didn't have anybody for me this time. She will next time.
I actually had a client that, I shouldn't say client, he's a good friend of mine. And I called him up yesterday to try to talk, and unfortunately he's like, his life's in a terrible crisis, so it was more, just kind of put the script away. It was like, then just talking to him.
And maybe you could give him some friendly advice or guidance or support.
He's coming over
right?
for a cookout.
And maybe in a month or two, when it's all over, he's gonna be like, wow, Lee, you were there for me. What can I do to pay back? Absolutely nothing at all. By the way, do you have anything about buying some real estate?
That's the thing. Him and his wife are going through a divorce, so selling of a house is like,
it's gonna be right.
I don't want to be that guy. That, he knows. I already mentioned to him, so I've already kind of talked to him about it.
And again, come from contribution. You don't have to be looking for a quick sale. Could you say something along the lines of, just asking out of curiosity, coming from curiosity, geez, have you guys decided what you're gonna do with the house yet? Do you have a plan in place? If there's any way I can help you, and if you guys decide to sell that, I'd be happy to walk you through that process. I'd be happy to give you some information around that.
Yeah.
Let me help you through this.
Yeah.
I mean, is that different than, hey, let me sell your house so I can make a commission?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I
It would be
did.
rude if you didn't offer to help them, right?
And so I have done that, but I just don't know, I don't wanna go at it and do a follow-up like, I don't want 36 touch him right now because he's going through some crap.
Sure.
Well,
Maybe you don't 36 touch them with marketing material. Maybe you just give them a call or a text or an email in a couple of weeks
Yeah.
or a couple of days, next week, and just check in with them.
Yeah.
Hey, how are things going? What can I do to help?
Yeah.
Handwritten card.
Why don't we go for a walk or grab a coffee? Maybe that is one of those times where you want to use that.
Yeah.
Because maybe you don't even end up buying or selling this house, and maybe you just come from contribution. You do something nice for a friend,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
feel good about yourself and feel fulfilled with what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's not always about the money.
And we learn about that, right?
Yeah.
That happened to me too, like at a book club this week. We were all sitting around, a bunch of us Wayne Fleet kindergarten moms, and we're just, nobody read the book, of course. And we just started talking, and there was one woman, her dad had just passed away, and she was like in Brooklyn, New York, like back and forth for the last like 3 or 4 months. And she had, and somebody said, so your mom, is she gonna stay there, or is she moving to Maine, or whatever? And she's like, yeah, I think, and eventually, and probably in the next couple of months, she'll probably be looking to move to Maine, and they're like 55 plus or something like that. And my friend's kicking me under the table, But at the same time, I'm getting the clues that yes, her mother is moving, but it was the same kind of thing. Like I was kind of like,
Yeah, but
I don't know what to say,
that's more
I
even
can
coming
help
from
you,
contribution.
but that's,
Because you're helping her mom, so that's
I
even
want to
too.
help her find, I really do want to help her
Yeah.
find, her mother find the right place that might be close enough to her, but is accessible and,
Yeah.
I don't know,
Why
those
not
type
let
of
it be
things.
done?
So, I didn't think it was probably the appropriate time, I guess, but,
Maybe not in
Yes.
front of all those people.
yeah.
However, maybe after, when you guys were kind of mingling and saying goodbyes, or maybe a follow-up, come from contribution and be
Yeah.
sincere with it.
Yeah.
You're not going to say the wrong thing. If you're being sincere, you know what I mean? She's going to understand
Yeah,
that you're trying to help.
And that sometimes goes further than a script.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Exactly, yeah. How you talk to a friend like this.
And imagine what's going to happen, and I don't want to put pressure on you, I just want you to think about this. What's going to happen if that woman gets with a real estate agent who doesn't care about them?
Right.
What could that look like for them?
Yeah. Right.
So you are coming from contribution because you're going to care and you want to actually help.
Yeah. It's true.
I called someone whose stepsister just started working with Keller Williams. Like, very recently.
Yep.
Just, it's gonna happen.
Well, I'll tell you this, not everybody wants to do business with their family or friends.
Yep.
That is true.
I've been rejected by my own friends multiple times.
I bought a house.
Why do you think that is?
On, and I would never do it again.
Yeah.
Do they think that you just?
They give me referrals all day. They say, there may be, I don't want there to ever create an issue.
Yeah.
That's
A
what my
conflict.
brother said to me.
I said, I completely understand, no problem. I won't let it get in the way. So, no problem.
You check them off your list.
Well,
They're not your friends anymore.
well, they've got, yeah, now we're not friends. Let me sell you a house. Well, that's exactly what they want to. That's exactly what they want to avoid, right? They want to avoid any type of, and not everybody's going to be like that. It just depends on the personality.
Yeah, good point.
However, I completely get it.
Yeah.
I may not want to make such a big financial decision with somebody that I'm closely related to, because what if things do go sour? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Listen, I used my aunt when we moved here, and we never do it again. Never, ever, ever. She didn't do, the deal was fine, but she wasn't a really good real estate agent, which is probably why she doesn't do it anymore, but we felt obligated because,
Right.
She called me and she's like, they're moving back? Well, why are they using another realtor? Why aren't they using me? And then my mother called and said, yeah, use her aunt. I was like, fine,
Right.
Yeah.
I was 8 months pregnant. I'm like, fine, just somebody buy me a house. I don't
Hey,
really
a
care.
guilt lead is just as good as a regular one.
I prefer my clients to feel comfortable. So if right, I'd rather they say a respectful no thank you and give me a couple of leads than say yes and then it deteriorates the relationship.
Yeah.
You know, and again, that's where, and I don't know if I'm supposed to be teaching you this necessarily. I imagine I am. It's not always about money or closing a deal. It's bigger than that. It's more about the relationships that you're building.
Win-win or no deal.
Win-win or no deal.
Yeah, I think that's totally.
That's
exactly right.
I think that goes with a lot of aspects.
That's exactly right.
And would you rather have a friend that bought one house from you, or a friend that gave you 7 referrals that ended up in closed business?
One per year for the next 10 years.
And I think we all have worked with enough really good real estate agents that if we are in that situation, we can say, well, I know a guy or gal.
Check. And it's probably somebody sitting in this
That's
room with
true,
you, right?
Right.
Right, or someone you know is really, really good who's going to take care of your friend.
Yep.
I
Exactly
got a
right.
buddy, he needs a real estate agent.
Hey, I don't want any conflict of interest between us or any weirdness. Why don't I just refer you to one of the other really great realtors in my office? I'm going to try to set you up with somebody that you're going to get along with and that knows what they're doing.
Right.
Go my card.
And then you, yeah, right. And then you preferably obviously do a PC agent, right? Somebody that's hungry and has the time and the ability, and that's why it's so important for you all to network together.
And then you have a win-win. And
Everybody-
hopefully a good deal
everybody wins.
for your friend.
All right, let's get back to the book. Excellent conversation, excellent job making our calls this morning. Let's run forward with that momentum. All right, get your head in the game. We're all on page 9 in my book. Is it 9 in your book as well?
Yep.
Excellent. So what does this funnel represent?
Money. Coming at the end.
Okay, money at the end, payday at the bottom. What else?
The funnel of our hard work. Yes, this is the job.
Funnel of your hard work. This is the job. In order to have X amount of closings, you're going to need a lot more contracts, right? Sometimes contracts fall out. In order to get those contracts, you're going to need to get agreements. What's the difference between a contract and agreement in this setting?
One sign.
Agreement, the process is still going.
Okay, the process is still going. Be specific with what we know about real estate.
There's actually a house that will be exchanged with a contract.
Yeah, contract meaning in this scenario, under contract to buy or sell a house. An agreement would be either a listing agreement or a buyer representation agreement.
Right.
I just want you to understand the difference in what they're saying here.
Yep.
So your clients, right, lead to under contracts, lead to paydays. In order to get those signed agreements, listing agreements and buyer exclusive buyer representation agreements, you obviously need to go on a lot more appointments. That's where we get those agreements signed. In order to set those appointments, you need a lot of leads. So it's the funnel. I went through it backwards. You understand it both directions now. In order to figure out how many leads we need, we do conversion rates, right? And we start by tracking our numbers, which we're going to get into here in just a second. All right, this funnel kind of represents what your business needs to do to succeed. So, I'm not sure why it's giving us a weird view here. Is it written in our book? Here it is, down the bottom of page 9. There's no real secret to real estate success. You follow the best models, you implement the best systems, and you commit to the best training. Ignite is the first step to your path to mastery. That's not the quote I thought it was.
Yeah, you seem less than enthusiastic about
That's
that
why
one.
I stopped in the last sentence, because I thought it was going somewhere else. That is the right quote. All right, what we're going to do real quick is I'm going to play you a short 2-minute video, and it's called The Day in the Life of a Mega Agent. Now, because we all did our Ignite homework, and we've talked to agents around the office, maybe you've heard some of this from other agents.
What's the definition of a mega agent? What volume do you need to make?
I don't know if there's a definition.
They're just doing it for
You see
fun
this
now
now
because they
every
don't
year.
need the money anymore.
10 million, I would say. If I had to guess.
Call themselves mega agents.
If I had to guess.
They're the people whose name you know because you've seen their sign 100 times.
Alright, let's watch this quick video.
Hi, I'm Linda
I wanna
McKissick and I
talk
want to
about
talk to you about an ideal day in the life of a mega agent. First thing in the morning, have to start with getting up and getting my head right. What I've discovered is if I get my head there, my body will show up. So that typically means getting up in the morning, always exercising, getting the blood flowing, and second, reading something either spiritual or motivational, or listening to an audio tape. Jim Rohn happens to be my favorite, so he's always in one of my CD players somewhere so that I can plug him in easily. And just listening to people that are inspirational, because I think all of us need hope every day to go do what we have to do. As we get to the office, the most important thing is, because every business is a lead generation business, is what does that lead generation look like? For me, because I'm at the 7th level, one of the most important things is what key people do I need to talk with that day? And that always pops up first. Do they have what they need to succeed? And then the next thing is, who are the people we need to be doing business with? How have I communicated with them lately? What do I need to do now? Is it a phone call today? Is it a drip campaign? Is it an invitation to something? Looking for how do I communicate with those people that we want to do business with, and how do I keep furthering that relationship and moving it along? I've discovered my business energy is highest earliest in the morning, earliest in the day, and earliest in the week. So I front load my week, Monday being the most difficult day with all the contacts and all the lead generation that I need to do early in the morning. And that frees me up to have the afternoon to kind of just work on plans or projects. Typically what I find is through the week, Monday and Tuesday are heavier, and Wednesday, and by Thursday and Friday it's pretty more entrepreneurial of just off the cuff. And then the evening on Mondays or through the week is, it's always about family, because the reason we do what we do is so that we can build a great life and build great memories with our family. So our kids are very important to us. We're very involved. It's what are we going to do as a family? What do we need to do as a family? When's dinner? Where are we going to go? Or what are we going to eat? And that kind of rejuvenates me. One of my philosophies is the purpose of business is to fund life. And to me, life is all about family. And as a mega agent, your day might look different, but the key things we have to always remember is certain parts of our day have to look the same. So you might want to think about, where's my head? How can I get my head in the right place? And then we always want to remember that every business has to be lead generating. So what does your lead generation look like? Is it earliest in the morning? Is it earliest in the day? And then we always have to know that somewhere in the day we have to spend that quality time with family, because we don't want to win at business to lose at family. Thanks for watching KW Connect, and make it a great day.
Who here can relate to that video in some way? Give us some of your, let's talk about some of your insights, some of your ahas from that, something that you can relate to in that video. Go ahead, Alan.
It is all about family. I'm calling people so that I can come home and say, hey, I have an appointment.
Okay.
Maybe I'll make a commission.
Right, it's about your family. Who else?
Exercise first thing in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know what it is, but when you feel good, you've exercised, your heart, you're breathing easy, it just makes it so much easier. I cold call and I walk into businesses totally cold for my previous job. That's what I've done, and it's just so much easier when you've been exercising.
Absolutely. Let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
So Denny talked about this a little bit yesterday. He talked about the block that runners come into, and somebody before that point mentioned runner's high, right? Runner's high is an actual thing, and you don't have to be a runner to get a runner's high. Basically what that is when you're exercising, there's a chemical that's released in your brain that's making it more enjoyable. Why does this happen? Well, because over thousands of years of evolution, our minds decided that when we get hungry and we need to go hunt for our food, we need to do it with enthusiasm and energy and be focused on the task at hand. Otherwise, what happens?
You're skinny.
You starve to death. Now, obviously, with grocery stores and supermarkets, we don't have that problem anymore. However, our thousands of years of physical evolution has not changed. There's an actual chemical, I think it's dopamine.
Dopamine.
Is it dopamine?
It is.
Okay, dopamine.
I used to be a runner before kids.
Perfect.
Before kids. Then I can never ever find where that could happen again. That's what
So let's talk about our morning routines.
I'm struggling with this right now too. Like in the morning, I should go out and walk the dog all the way around the neighborhood and say hello to everyone who's out. Hey, who do you know who's buying or selling real estate? Because they all know me, and I'm not doing this.
Sure.
And part of it is because the baby's not sleeping, and I'm tired and groggy every morning.
but a lot of that is also an excuse. You know, I just need to roll
I
out of
couldn't
bed
agree
and just
more.
go. It's all
I
an
couldn't-
excuse, you know, and I think I got that yesterday.
I can't.
Somewhere in between the like impossible.
You say it's not an
times.
excuse or it is an excuse?
No, it's not an excuse. I mean, seriously, like
It's not a good
mornings
excuse.
are just cray with twin kids.
Well, yeah, see, your kids are
Lunches,
sick.
get them dressed, get the snow.
What time do
days,
the twins wake
everything.
up?
They get off about 6:30, and I get out
Oh, they
at
got
5:15.
5:15? And that gives you just enough time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. See, your kids are 6. I have a
Because it's like,
9-month-old and a
come on,
12-year-old. The 12-year-old.
What would happen if you
gets
woke
to
up 30
5:30.
minutes earlier, did an at-home exercise before you got started with your day, and did some affirmations while you were exercising? Would you be getting less sleep?
That's true.
Yes.
You mean earlier than 5:15?
Would you be in a completely different mindset when you started your day?
Yeah. Yeah.
I wake up well before 5:15.
You do?
Yes, and I don't have to. I don't even have kids.
What time do you
I have
go to bed?
I have no responsibilities in the morning. I wake up at 4 o'clock. I go to the gym, I work out, and I'm out the office. I'm not saying you need to do that.
What
I'm
time
saying
do you
that's
go
what
to
I
bed?
choose to do.
Yeah.
I go to bed about 10.
So you get by on a consistent 6 hours is
I do.
good for you.
And I used to come to the office.
Science says that's gonna catch up with you.
You feel
Science
good?
But
I drink a lot of water and I eat healthy.
Aren't you so tired?
The body needs rest.
Do I look tired?
Well,
see,
Sometimes you're a piece of human,
I put together the pieces about you.
Everybody has a different
physical routine and your mental.
I've never had more energy throughout the day in my life than when I work out. If I stopped working out, I would be a groggy mess. In fact, when I wake up at 7 a.m. and I'm not going to work out, I slum through the rest of the day.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's true.
definitely.
We're all agreeing, and what is our routine?
Yeah. One of the things I did cut out was drinking wine at night.
Oh.
Just during the day now?
Yeah, just during the day.
What was the formula that you were going to say, Ellen?
But that helped
What were you
a lot.
saying a second ago?
The formula?
Didn't you just say something about a...
Oh yeah, like see, I kind of pieced together that you were not early to bed, but a very early riser kind of guy, and like my dad did that for years. It caught up with him. He had his first heart attack at 49.
Because you
But-
woke up early?
No, because he didn't take good enough care of his body.
Okay.
Right. So, and not sleeping enough was part of that. But if you can find the correct balance, you can get enough sleep so your body and your brain are.
We're just looking out for you.
I can't...
We want the best for you, Joe.
You got it all.
How quickly the tables have turned. I can't speak to your dad, obviously, and his health. I can just speak to my own. And
Right.
the reason why I wake up early is to be healthier.
Right.
To go exercise for an hour.
It's true that physiologically some people just require less sleep and some require more. It's an
This
average.
is true.
So if what he's doing works for him and he's healthy and, you know,
Yeah.
I mean,
On that note, I would have considered myself I have considered myself a night owl my entire life. Do you want to know when that changed? About 6 months ago. I'm spacing on her name. She came up from Florida, mega agent, runs a mega team down in Florida. She gave a presentation. Jack Yellis, thank you. That's exactly right. Jack Yellis came up and she said, "Who's night owls? Who's this? Who's that?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm a night owl, totally. I love to stay up at night. I don't like to go to bed at night, and I certainly don't like to wake up in the morning." And she said, "It's no such thing. It doesn't exist. It's habits. That's all it is your habits." And it was a complete aha. And that day, I made a commitment to wake up earlier.
So you started getting to bed by 10.
So I just started doing it.
Yeah.
Were the first couple of weeks tough? Yeah. It gets easier.
Tom Brady is in bed most nights by 8 o'clock, I read once. And it's ironic, a lot of people stay up late to watch one of the games he's playing in, then they'll get up after 4 or 5 hours of sleep to go to work. But Tom Brady, if he's in bed at 8 o'clock because he knows that he needs a certain amount of sleep, and then he's got his training routine, and that discipline and diligence has led to a guy that's playing at a 25-year-old level, and I think he's 42 now.
Right.
41 or 40. It's
Right.
just amazing. But
Yeah. You can tune your body in amazing ways. The human body can do almost anything. It's ridiculous.
Did you guys listen to Tony Robbins?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has one particular skit, or he's on stage talking, and he's talking about energy and where does it come from. So let's just talk about it real quick. Let's brainstorm. Where does energy come from?
Food.
Okay, food's the most common answer, and obviously without food at some point you will starve to death.
Water.
However, do religions, for pretty much the entirety of human existence, have they done long period of fastings? Does fasting exist?
Yeah.
For weeks at a time.
Yeah.
So could we agree that maybe it's not food that gives you energy?
I used to be a science teacher. I do not agree.
Well, like I said, obviously you'll die without eating, and you have to sustain your body. However, what the point I'm making is, if I haven't eaten breakfast yet today, can I still be at high energy level?
Oh yeah.
If I haven't eaten
More so.
food in a week or 2 weeks,
Intermittent fasting.
and why does that work? That goes right back to the physiology of humans. If you haven't eaten for a week, you need to have the energy to go kill your prey so that you can feed your family. Otherwise, you all starve to death.
Right.
So it goes right back into the dopamine conversation we're having. My point, I'm not telling you to starve yourselves. I'm telling you, my point is being that you can wake up and have high energy or low energy, and it's got nothing to do with whether you've eaten or not. It's got nothing to do with whether you've had your morning coffee or not. It's all in your head.
No, you're right.
It's all mindset. Do you think
Coffee actually robs you of your energy long term. I mean, you might get a little temporary boost, but if I have 2 or 3 cups of these, especially after 2 in the afternoon, if I have coffee, I'm not going to sleep well tonight. And I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning groggy, tired, wondering why I didn't sleep well, and then because of that, I'm going to grab another cup of coffee, and the cycle continues.
Some people love coffee, some people don't. I personally don't drink coffee, I drink water. That's just a personal choice. I'm not telling you whether to do it or not. I'm simply saying that if you want to have high energy, it only requires a mindset. It only requires you to choose to do it.
Is that what Tony
I think it
Robbins-
requires all of the above, but yes, the mindset is really what determines what's going to happen in the next hour. Unless you're near starvation or haven't slept in 4 days, right? Except for extenuating circumstances, the mindset is the determining factor.
Okay, so then we agree.
Yeah, but you still need to eat properly. And
I'm not like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying you can survive without food
Joe
and
said
water.
not to eat.
Joe said not to eat.
No,
Yeah,
my weak link right now is definitely exercise, because I've just been a lazy slug for the past 5 years.
Yeah, all those fasts end eventually. Somebody gets hungry enough. They
Well, of course they do.
You have to put nutrition into your body.
Of course they do.
But mindset is what's going to determine the next hour.
All right, we went off a little rabbit trail there for a second. Let's all open up our books to page 11, Pearls of Wisdom. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to spend 3 minutes, and I want you to read these questions, and I want you to think about them, and I want you to jot some notes down. Once you're done in 3 minutes, we're going to go through these and talk about them together. First question, what is your advice on getting into production as quickly as possible? And what is your secret to longevity and prosperity? Now, these are the questions that you should have been talking to other real estate agents about around the office. So if you did that, then you should have some things to write down that they talked about. If you didn't do that, well, you're short-handed, and I want you to think about what their answers would have been. And shame on you for not doing your homework. All right, let's go ahead and do a quick review. Number one, what's your advice on getting into effective production as quickly as possible? What are some of the things we wrote down? Go ahead, Lee.
Ann's big on training.
Training.
Classes.
Okay.
Knowledge.
Vicky agrees. Lead generate. Let's talk more about that. Call people. Okay.
Put yourself out there.
Right. It all starts with
Spirit.
getting into a closing table. All starts with lead generation, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing yesterday was the 10,000 no's. It's something that I've come to realize from talking to dozens of agents, but it's absolutely true. Like every no is a step on the path to your next yes, and you have to just keep walking.
And does that not just completely change your mindset about rejection?
Really, rejection is not like a stop dead end. It's just like, okay, keep looking.
Because if your mindset is that I'm going to go see 10 homes and one's going to say yes, the ones that say no, you're like, thanks so much, I appreciate it. One more no off the list.
It's just like
Head to my
fishing.
yes.
It's just like fishing. I put a fly exactly where the fish is eating, exactly the right rhythm in their eating cycle, and it just drifts by and just cast again to a new spot. It's just like fishing. You just keep putting it out there and seeing what happens.
Okay,
and then you
fair
get a
enough.
huge dopamine rush when you
Fishing
start
analogy.
watching.
And dopamine. There we are. Back to dopamine.
It all goes back to the dopamine, man.
Go back to dopamine.
Yeah. So if you're not the kind of person who can spend a lot of time casting and getting nothing.
And if you're thinking to yourself, when you do get that no, I'm one step closer to mastery. I'm one no closer to 10,000. Does that not turn what could be perceived as a negative into a positive?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Is that just 100% mindset?
Yep.
Change the way you look at things,
The things you look at change.
and the things you look at change.
Now you know how helpful that would have been in high school when
Yeah, right.
you kept getting turned down by a girl. You're like, all right, the next one's going to say yeah.
That's great.
If only I had gold in high
Man, I
school.
know. It's like gold in kindergarten.
Yeah. What other thoughts do we have on getting into production as quickly as possible? Because ultimately we're here for production, right?
Working your sphere of influence.
Sphere of influence.
Really focusing on that.
Yeah.
Branching out from there.
Yep. And we all have our new both script for Sphere of Influence, and you have some other scripts for Sphere of Influence, right? Great. Okay. Secret to longevity and prosperity in real estate. What do we think? What did we hear from some agents around the office? Matt, go ahead.
It's important to be in balance with, you can't have real estate be your life. The point is for it to fund your life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if you're just going to work hard all day, every day, and not worry about your friends, your family, your health, you're going to burn out. So it's, you just got to keep it in balance, really.
Going back to the video that we just watched, Life in the Mega Agent, let's talk about some of her strategies for exactly what you're saying. Does anybody think of anything specific that she talked about?
She has
Blocking
time block.
Blocking off time for a family.
Blocking off time, aka time blocking, right? Which we've all talked about.
Yeah.
And if you've heard me talk about time blocking, what's the number one thing that you time block?
Lead generation.
That's what most people would
Your
say.
family.
Family.
Your obligations.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I start. Because lead generation is picking up a phone. You can do that
I was
different
just-
times of the
I was
day.
just thinking in terms of
Yeah.
strictly.
No, it was good. That's number two. No, you schedule the things that are the most important in life, right? And dinner with your family. It might be Saturday afternoons, whatever it is for you and your family. Block it.
I can't
4 a.m.
remember
workout.
where I read
Personal
this,
maintenance.
Yeah.
but somebody said at the beginning of the year, you block in the vacations that you are going to take.
Right.
It's not a
Right.
question of if you can afford it or
Right.
you and then you know that in the 7 months preceding that,
Right.
you better
Yep.
you better be doing what you're supposed to be doing, and then you can take the trip.
Sure. And just to touch on your comment there about the 4 a.m. workouts, the only reason I had a decision to make whether I wanted to work out in the afternoons or the mornings when I got into real estate. I decided on mornings because what scheduling conflicts do I have at 5 a.m. other than my perceived amount of sleep that I need?
Yep.
Do I ever have an appointment that's going to get in the way? Might I have it in the afternoon?
Yep.
And
So that's-
exercise is important to me. I time blocked it in the morning. Now you won't see it on my schedule because there's never a conflict, and I know that my alarm's set at 4 a.m. It's not physically on my schedule. However, I know what I'm going to do every day.
I
We
like-
all know.
oh, go ahead.
We all know that when you get up and move, that changes everything that happens after it. So why would you do it at the end of the day?
Exactly.
I like how she had said too, like, know your head and like know what works best for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so for her, it's earlier in the morning.
Yep.
And more so at the beginning of the week.
Definitely.
Because then everything can start to like, if things start to change and moving parts, then that can, that can happen later on if you're getting the stuff done that you need.
Now, who thinks they have more willpower typically in the morning versus afternoon? Pretty much everybody, right? And that's not to say that you can't do certain activities in the afternoon. Gary Keller talks about willpower. And, it's actually The One Thing, the book The One Thing. They talk about willpower, and they basically say that every day you start with like a bucket of marbles or pennies or whatever. And as you go through the day and as you make decisions and as you overcome obstacles, you're slowly just reducing the amount of inventory left in that bucket. And so eventually you do run out. You run out of fuel in your car. It's kind of the same idea. Now, when you get home and you reset and you kind of get back to neutral, you're resetting your willpower for the next day. So that it's typically is true that most people have a little bit more determination in the morning versus later in the evenings.
The bucket analogy is really strong too, because when you get to the point where you have a perceived scarcity, when you know your bucket's low, you spend a lot more time agonizing over what you're going to spend that remaining energy on.
Right.
When your bucket's full, you're like, oh, I'll do whatever. And that's
Go.
That's built in our brains.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of our evolution.
So I think she makes a really good point about front of the day versus back of the day, front of the week versus back of the week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays are typically going to be heavier than Thursdays and Fridays. Because who's like me on Friday at noon, I'm like, I've had a pretty good week. Let's rock and roll. and get out of here early today, right? We'll be out of here by 5 today. Yes!
I'll get out of here early and I'm going to go door knock my neighborhood.
There you go.
After bowl.
That's fantastic.
I gotta get through, like, I want 40 before I really get into my weekend.
So he's going out and buying a wagon right now.
I already got a backpack. I carry Teddy in Osprey backpack and I go around and door knocking.
All right, we're going to move right along. I want to make sure that we cover all this before the end of class. Let's flip to the next page, 13, 14. I'm missing 13 for mine. On 14, it should be questions 1 through 5.
Yep.
You want to see those? Okay, again. Now, I want to spend the next 3 to 5 minutes filling these out. You can't fill them out on your phone. So have a pen in your hand. Fill these questions out. Read them. Write down some notes. I'm not going to spend much time on them. However, I do want you to actually put some thought into these, and then we'll talk about them. Ready, set, go. All right, let's go ahead and start our review of these questions and hear what you all think. Question 1. How do you create a personal plan and make process your focus?
Well, that was weird.
Make process your focus. That's kind of, yeah, it is kind of a weirdly worded. Now we can't talk. Okay, so what are our thoughts on that question? How do we make process our focus?
I had down like every weekend I'm going to sit down and fill out my planner for the week and block my time and.
Perfect. Time blocking your time blocking time.
Correct. A little redundant, but I time block my time block with my time block time.
I highly suggest that to everybody.
If
Sunday
it's not-
night,
and if it's not
10
on-
minutes.
Yeah, if it's not on my schedule, it doesn't exist. That's the rule that Ann puts in play.
Right. So spending 10 minutes looking at the week's plan. What are my biggest priorities? Personal priorities. What are my biggest priorities with contracts that I have written? When does PC and the Marketing Center have training blocks? Once you get all that filled in, where's my white space, blank space, lead generation, and then your other activities. Does that make sense? Love it, Lee. What else do we have? That's a perfect system, by the way. Your system is simply looking at your schedule and time blocking every Sunday.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
That's what I put down, too.
Love it.
Yeah.
Matt?
That's on the list.
I'm gonna curate my schedule to match what Cash was saying yesterday about the 5 things he does every day.
And what are those 5 things?
Lead generate, lead follow up, set appointments, negotiate contracts, and
Scripts and role play.
Scripts and role play. Yeah.
And that all happens, so I said, within the 40-hour work week. Your command stuff, putting all that stuff in, that's outside of the 40-hour work week.
Yeah, that's what she said.
All that stuff.
Sometimes. Those are the 5 activities that are your priorities and that you should be doing every single day. Now, if you don't have any appointments to go on, then what should you be doing? You should be doing scripts and role play, and then you should be lead generating and following up with your leads in order to set appointments so that you can negotiate contracts. Those are your 5 biggest responsibilities. Those are the activities that lead to money.
I think the challenge for me and most of these guys right now is everything's kind of a project. And once you turn it into a system, then it's a process that you can become more efficient at. So you look at someone like Cash, that's a system. So he can get a lot done, a lot more than I can in the same amount of time.
Give me an example of a system that he uses.
Well, just the way that he does those activities every single day. He knows exactly when he's setting his appointments. He's just really good at making the most use of his time.
Sure.
Sometimes I gotta chase this task, I gotta do this and then next thing I know, half the day's gone and it was just running around.
Right. And you get to lunchtime, you're like, what have I even done today? Nothing on my list, nothing on my schedule, right? Time blocking is a skill that's going to be learned over time. So if you haven't mastered it yet, then now you have something that you can work on. And don't feel like once you make a time blocking schedule that you have to stick to it for the rest of your life. I've changed my time blocking almost weekly when I took this PC position because I had to figure it out. I wasn't really sure what to do. I had a plan, I did it, I saw room for improvement, I adjusted. Some things worked, some things didn't. I made other adjustments. Right?
But I like that though, on Sunday nights, that's a good a good way to look at your week, and then, especially knowing that there's all these like moving parts of learning all these things and still trying to lead generate and, you know, but by looking at it each week instead of, this is what I'm gonna do for the rest of the year, this is my time blocks, you
Right.
know, then it will start to make sense.
Yes, and we're actually going to talk about that here in a second. So I'm glad you brought that up about looking long term versus short term. We're definitely going to talk about that today. Excellent. Let's talk about number 2. Time block. Okay, that's basically what we just talked about. Perfect. they kind of ran parallel together. Okay, number 3. How do we use accountability to keep our focus?
I think we kind of all said that. You know, like Cash, he's going to get rid of his golf clubs, or you know,
Yeah.
it's going to interfere with family time, or
I'm gonna have
you
to
know,
look like you.
you're going to look like me. That's right.
So you're gonna shake your head every time you don't get 4 contracts in a month, whatever your
I
goal
know
is.
exactly what we said.
So we can tell by.
But he's a little nervous, he's gonna be
He's a little
bald.
nervous.
Honestly, I always say it's one less thing to worry about in the morning if I don't have hair.
This
So.
is true.
I'm all right.
Well, and let's take
well,
this.
I mean, if you don't end up shaving your head for a whole year.
That was a fun little activity that we did about the shaving the head. Matt, if you don't mind sharing, why don't you just share with us, if you're okay, what's your big why? And I know we haven't really done that at Bold yet. Why do you do what you do? What's important to you?
So, to me, it's the chance to do what I always felt, I had the potential for, is to run my own business and be in charge of making my own income.
Okay.
And if I, my big why to do this is so I can provide enough money to come in that I don't have to go back to, working for the man again.
So what's going to happen for you and your family if you don't succeed at this?
I'll go back to working a 9 to 5, not being as happy, probably not making as much money as I could in this.
Not making as much money, not being as happy in general?
Right.
So is that a pretty good motivation
Sure is.
to get your appointments versus shaving your head?
Yeah.
We all understand what Denny was doing with that.
Yeah.
Do you see how in reality this stuff is real?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's way bigger than shaving your head.
It's way bigger than shaving your head.
Accountability.
So yes, that's a fun little accountability tool. What you should really be asking yourself when you don't want to lead generate is what's going to happen if I don't?
Right.
Pain versus pleasure. We talked about that yesterday. And it's a real question. And you know what? Sometimes it sucks to acknowledge that reality because it's painful, right? Like, holy crap. And that's the reality. So do the activities now, be uncomfortable now so you can become comfortable for the rest of your life. Great, thanks for sharing. Okay, number 4. What do we have for, how do you make sure your environment, what's that?
I didn't flip over. I thought it was just.
How do you make sure your environment supports your focus?
Your family, and I mean they have to be supportive of it too,
Mhm.
because I know even before I quit my job and I started doing this, that's what Dottie said, like, this has to be a family decision.
Right.
That we're all gonna work together to do this.
Right.
So I think that environment for me was, my husband is equally on board with my success to this.
And so did you guys have that conversation?
We did, yeah.
Yeah.
He's pumped about it. He's excited
Yeah.
and he'd like to join me at some point.
Great. I mean, I'm sure you've probably had a few conversations around it,
Yeah,
right? As things have
yeah.
evolved.
Mm-hmm.
Having somebody in your corner.
Yep.
Okay, what are some other examples of how we create a environment that's going to support our focus?
You just eliminate negativity out of your life.
Amen,
Oh,
brother.
yeah, that's huge. Yeah.
Whether it's old friend, there are handfuls of contacts that I've scrolled down through and was like, I don't even want to sell them a house, even if they were like, hey, come on over.
Yeah.
The $8,000 isn't worth what they.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And is the tough reality that some of those people are the closest people in our lives?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Who's heard the expression, you're the sum of the 5 people you spend the most of your time with?
No, I haven't.
You are the sum of the 5 people who you spend most of your time with.
You're the average of.
You're the average of. Yeah, sum, meaning average,
Yeah.
yeah.
I've been hanging out with you a little bit longer than so that's cool.
Well, I hope I'm rubbing off on you.
Bringing us out.
I'll take that.
And I'm not saying you have to go terminate friendships and relationships with family members. Maybe you need to draw them back for your own success. I know I had to make that decision. I still do every time I get multiple invitations.
Yep.
my brother is my closest family member other than my mom. And love him to death. He's got a wife and kids. Adore my nephews. With that said, he's a very pessimistic type of person. Has been his whole life. Doesn't think big. Doesn't dream big. Couldn't care less about what I was doing. Doesn't not support me. Doesn't encourage me. And he invites me up to go hang out 2, 3, 4 times a week. And I make time for it about once every 2 weeks. Not because I'm so busy that I can't spend time with my family, because I know the repercussions of what that means to me. So I limit it. I don't eliminate him from my life. I would never eliminate him from my life. I limit it. I manage it. And that was a conscious thought I had about 6 months ago after moving back home and just being, you know. And so I would just suggest that you take a look at those relationships of everybody, friends and family, and then identify the people that are like giving you the encouragement and the positivity, and they're in your corner, and spend as much time with them as you possibly can. And sometimes, I know for me, one of those 5 things is Tony Robbins. YouTube videos. Every time I get in my car, Tony Robbins is on. I could listen to country music, or I could listen to somebody tell me something really positive. That's what I choose to do. How do you keep your energy to maintain your focus?
You take care of yourself.
Take care of yourself. How do you take care of yourself?
Well, I haven't done a very good job of it, but
Okay.
but I've started time blocking. I've already time blocked next week already.
Great.
So I already have my exercise, and I'm going to start scheduling all the appointments I put off. Like my kids go to the dentist every 6 months religiously. My husband goes. I get everybody going but me, and so I'm going to take care of all those things so that I can be ready to do what I want to do, what I've waited for a long time while I've been raising my kids. So I was like, now, you know, they're still home, but they're older, and so now I can focus on me, but I have to make sure that all of me is ready to go, or else, you know, well, crap out and be slumped in a parking lot somewhere, and I'll have to call Karen to save me.
Have you ever been on a plane, Tracy?
Yes.
What do they tell you in case of an emergency in the oxygen mask falls? What do they tell you?
Put yours on first.
Yeah.
Because if you pass out while trying to help your young kid or neighbor, then you're of no use to anybody.
It's true. It's true.
So just a fun little
it's
kind
true.
of analogy.
And when I like even just last week or the week before when we were talking to Dottie and she was talking about all of it, I was like, oh, okay. So that's actually why as soon as I realized we had a gap in bowl, you know, between this and the next time it started, I was like, okay, I've got to get all this scheduled. So I scheduled all that. I looked at what training was up already, and then I just started to time block other things in there.
Perfect. By the way, just on time blocking, I do have paper sheets time blocked. I think it's like every 30 minutes in a 7-day work week. If you ever want to just write it out on paper before you get into your Google Calendar, sometimes that's easier for people. So if you want one of those, I have them next door. Any other thoughts on how we keep our energy to maintain our focus?
Go back to number 4.
Go back to number 4. Environment.
Keep the negative away.
Yeah.
So how do you do that on Facebook? Because I found that people are so crazy on Facebook and they just write whatever comes to their mind even if they know nothing about it.
That's a great question. I'm glad you brought that up.
I have a really hard time with negative stuff. I tend to be a very pessimistic person.
Like I don't
My
scroll
drunk
Facebook
monkey.
and be like, I don't agree with this person, I'm gonna put my thoughts on it. Like I find it so weird that people
Do you mean people commenting on your stuff or just people in general?
So we just built a 3-unit and we're renting it out and we have it priced well for the area and what we're offering, and people are like, no one can afford that and you guys are greedy and you're doing this and you should pay a portion of their rent, and I'm like, I'm not DHS, I can't afford to pay your rent. So people are like, there's like 200 comments on it, and it's people that like live in like Holton or North Carolina, or just people that have nothing to do with it in general, or even know in general.
But you have all the information available, and you can say, well, that's a great question,
right.
but the market in this area, here are the numbers, and here are the numbers.
And
I'm
that's what I
not sure
said.
we, you know, kill them with kindness.
That's, I'm like, if you didn't build this,
Sometimes you
unit, how
don't
do you
need to
know?
address it though, sometimes you just have to,
You
like,
realize
send it
they're
away,
unhappy with themselves.
you know, just
Right.
let it go, because you can't, you're always gonna find somebody who doesn't agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
Or is this trolling?
And
Just delete
so
messages.
you just
Not
have
on
to,
Marketplace, I found that.
yeah, you just have to kinda let it go, cause you can't, cause you'll address somebody and then they'll come back, and you
Oh,
can just
yeah.
get into this vicious circle.
People are so
just,
nasty.
Who would you suggest,
it's
Joe?
not personal, they don't know you, they don't,
Right.
you know, it's not a personal dig, so you just let it go.
Oh, they start making personal digs about
Yeah.
my family and
Oh,
me
that's
and my
not-
husband and our business, and it's like, you don't even know who we are, you don't even live in Maine. Like,
Yeah,
what are you
I've-
doing on a Maine thread? That's weird.
I've run into that with teaching a lot too.
But
like,
how personal is that really if they don't know you? You know, they're just saying
They're just trying
random
to, like,
stuff,
get
so
out there.
just
Yeah.
send it away.
Yeah.
Don't even
And
address it.
probably most
It's-
people that are
it's
reading
not
it
important.
are saying the same thing you are.
Anyone
Like,
that's in the business
like,
or
listen to
like
this knucklehead.
construction, we're like, these are actually very well priced. It's the people that have no idea what they're talking about that have something to say negative, and it's so frustrating. So I try to be like mellow and peaceful and calm, but in reality, I just want to like tell them to f off.
Mhm.
So it's really hard
Do you
to
have
stay.
to read them?
Facebook is.
You have to read, I mean, is it
Well, I'm trying to find tenants, so I kind
Okay,
of have
okay.
to.
Can I propose a question?
Yeah.
If you change the way you look at things,
Mhm.
could those things change?
Well, I think they're
What-
still going to be jerks.
What do I mean by that?
Like,
And I'm not saying you have to take any action. I just want you to make some conscious thoughts here.
try
Change
to-
the way you look at things. Is it possible that they're not happy with themselves and their financial success, and so they're taking it out on you?
Yeah.
Is it possible that they can't afford to live in that house, so they just assume it's overpriced?
Right.
Is it possible that they're getting a lot of heat from their loved ones because they're not providing the kind of life that they were promised? So is it really about you at all?
Usually
I
is.
don't think so. I think they're just.
If they don't even know you, just like Tracy said, it's people being miserable.
You almost feel bad.
Now I'm not saying you have to go out and change everybody's life and you know, maybe the best thing for you is just to in one ear out the other and completely ignore it. Maybe you sense something in somebody and you reach out to them and say, hey look, is there any way I can help you? What's really going on here? Start asking some questions, come from contribution.
Right.
Yeah, like just post it, so what do you think that this place is worth?
One person said $800. Too bad.
Well, I wouldn't, and if you did do that, I wouldn't do it publicly. I'd send them a private message.
Right.
Hey, I saw your message, and it come from sincerity. Hey, I saw your
Yeah.
message. I'm just curious to know, you know, what's going on.
Yeah.
Can I help you? Can I get you connected with the right people to find some suitable housing that would be more affordable for you?
Yeah.
Maybe it's not my building. Maybe there's another one that would suit you better.
And I did say a bunch of that, and
Yeah.
people, just in general, I feel like on
Sure.
Facebook, people, and even your family, they want to see you doing well, but never better than them.
Right.
Yeah.
So people are just
Haters gonna hate.
down
That's
and
right.
nasty.
Look at Tom Brady feels.
And you have to and you have to just kind of take it with a grain of salt sometimes.
Well, it's not quite the same thing, but we get sometimes a lot of flack when we've sold some things on like the Facebook Marketplace, and I immediately get, oh, you live in the Woodlands, oh, you know, and I mean, to me, it's just a neighborhood. I live there because my kids can walk to school.
Right.
That's why I live in the Woodlands. People have a preconceived notion, some people, that the Woodlands is snobby and not nice and whatever. When people say it, I'm like, well, what, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's them, it's not me.
Mm-hmm.
And so, as long as you're good with it, when you make peace with being good with who you are or where you are or your building, you know it's priced fairly, you know it's a nice building, whatever you know.
Right.
It's them, and sometimes it's theirs to deal with, not yours.
Yeah.
And you can come from a place of contribution, and sometimes that works, and when that doesn't work, you just have to be able to say, it's theirs, not mine,
Mm-hmm.
and be good with it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's hard to do.
A couple other thoughts on Facebook and social media in general. You can unfollow people. Has anybody in here had to unfollow people
Oh, yeah.
because of their negativity,
Yep.
their gossip, their drama,
Yep.
or
Yes.
unfriend them even? So that's a tool you have.
Or could you just have it so it's not in your feed, but they're still, so they don't know?
That's what I mean by
Yeah, you do
unfollow.
that. Oh,
You can
unfollow.
unfriend them entirely,
Yeah,
or you can
there's an
unfollow
That's right.
their stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do that a lot.
Could you intentionally follow certain things that may build your business? Investor groups, real estate groups, local community groups. Could those type of things provide more valuable content on your feed than people's drama and gossip?
Mm-hmm.
Could you put a lens on when you opened up your Facebook and said, I'm going to only look for things that are going to help my real estate career, and as soon as you start reading something that's not, you scroll past it? So just some tools, especially during the workday. If you're going to go use social media, which I suggest you all do to build your business, don't get stuck reading somebody's drama or gossip. Move right past it. I feel like we're going to be, hi.
David.
Hi! We're here to take pictures of all the graduates.
Ah.
We're here to say congratulations on graduation.
Well, that's exciting. Unexpected surprise.
We're gonna come over and be like the proud moms and dads and be like taking the photo and they graduated. So congratulations.
Oh,
Thank
you.
It's the start of illustrious careers in real estate.
That's right. We're having some very high level conversation in here.
Yeah. Yes.
Incredible.
Very good.
Take a quick break for a photo.
We can take a quick break for a photo.
Awesome.
Sure.
Sure.
Parents just volunteer.
Here, let's do it right up front in front of the screen. I'll put on the. There we go.
There we go.
Alright,
That's not right.
alright, I'll stand in the back.
You're in it.
Alan, we're gonna hold you like this across all of us.
You want to send it too? All right. Graduate the Igniters. Are we recording too? They're going to see the whole thing.
Top and bottom.
You can stand right in front of me. Squish
Right
in,
in.
squish in, squish
Right
in,
in.
squish in, squish in.
Okay, I'm gonna take a couple.
I
feel tall with this. Okay, we're a little lopsided. That's all right.
Squish in.
No symmetry.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm gonna take one a little bit closer. Yay! You guys look awesome.
Thank you.
Way to go, guys.
Oh, that went right in the back there.
Thank you.
Love it. Cool. Congratulations. Congrats, and we will let you get back to your life.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Where's we going?
He's out. He's done.
Well, we just graduated.
Yeah, we graduated. See ya.
Brother, cats here. Encouraging others gives your energy too.
Encouragement does.
Just you being encouraging of others. Yeah, that bounces back on.
Absolutely.
It's weird too. You ever rake someone else's lawn? Like I could do that for hours, raking my own lawn.
Yeah. Same.
Oh, that's what you mean.
Right.
All right, let's go ahead and get to page 61. That's not right. 14?
15.
14. Conversion rate calculator. See you, Tracy.
Bye.
Conversion rate calculator. Are we all on that page?
16?
23 for us.
23.
Yeah.
Yeah, you jumped away.
This book's a little. I mean, this page is from a different book
It's
entirely.
been off the whole series.
Yeah. Okay. What this conversion rate calculator allows you to do is calculate your conversions based on your historical results. So you'll take a look at how many connections you made total, and then figure out how many appointments you had, and then all you do is divide and figure out what your conversion rate is, and you figure that out as a percentage. So that if I made 10 calls and I set one appointment, what's my conversion rate?
10%.
10%, easy math. So that if I know I need to set 2 appointments this week, how many calls do I need to make? How many connections do I need to make?
20 if you keep the.
Yeah.
I need to keep, right, 20. So the idea is that we'll track our numbers so that we know our conversion rates. Now think about this big picture. If my GCI goal, GCI standing for
Gross commission income.
gross commission income, is $198,000, because I know after taxes and cost of doing business that nets me $100,000. Then I figure out the average sales price and average commission. Let's say 3% at $250 is $7,500. I can figure out how many transactions closed I need in order to hit my GCI goal. Now, if I need to close 24 transactions this year, how many appointments do I need to go on? Right? Do we all remember doing this with me in your appointment?
Yeah.
So this document allows you to track that. So if you haven't been tracking it, you need to take a look at your historical numbers. And we're not going to do it right now just because of time. I want you to take this with you after today's class and figure out what are your conversion rates. They're not good, they're not bad. They are what they are, and they're going to improve. As they improve, you'll get really specific and narrowed in on what your personal conversion rates are. So if I know I need 24 closings, that means I need to go on 38 appointments, and I know to get my 38 appointments, I need to touch 380 people for a 10% conversion rate. Right? So now I break down 388 contacts into my daily, weekly plan, and now I know specifically how many contacts I need to make every day to set my appointment goal, to set my closings goal, to hit my GCI goal. This is one of those systems, and it's really your business plan, right? So take the 10 minutes to figure it out. And this isn't something that should take you a lot of time regularly. You track it as you go, and every once in a while you check in on your business. Maybe every 30 days. You spend 10 minutes on Sunday figuring out what your conversion rates are and readjusting your aim based on your goals. All right, this formula is going to help you do that.
Is a connection each phone call you make, or each person you stop in on and chat with and give them your business card?
A connection is somebody that you talk to about real estate.
Okay, so
like Denny said yesterday, personal. And you weren't there, if you have a conversation with your best friend for 30 minutes about the Patriots, that doesn't count as a connection.
Yeah.
If you talk for 28 minutes about Patriots and then you talk about real estate and ask for business, then it's a connection.
Okay.
If you talk about real estate and they hang up on you, that's still a connection. Because they hung up on you.
Bad connection.
A bad connection. All right, so flip to page 17, 18, and we're going to talk about 411. Who here has completed a 411? Bam. Hands in the sky.
Is that the CGI calculator?
Nope.
No.
No. Different tool.
I'm not sure that.
411, if you flip to the next page, you may see an example 411 worksheet.
Oh, there it is. Oh,
Looks like this. In my book, anyway. Is that in your book? Yeah, it's blank. Perfect.
Oh, right here, yeah.
So let's talk about how we utilize this worksheet. Up at the top, what do we see? What's the first category?
Annual goals.
Annual goals. Annual goals. So what we recommend is that you spend 1 or 2 days per year, right? So at the beginning of your real estate career, and then maybe after 6 months, you revisit this. And you take a look and you figure out what are your annual goals in real estate. The idea here is that your annual goals probably aren't going to change too much, right? If you want to net $100,000 this year, short of a life event, that's probably going to stay true. So you figure that out and you reassess about every 6 months. Then below that, we have monthly goals. So what do you have to do on a monthly basis in order to hit that annual goal? So if I need to close 24 transactions this year to hit my goal, what's my monthly goal?
1. 2, I'm sorry.
2.
Think of a long year.
It's a really long year. He's on Mars. Yeah, 2. So might it be helpful, rather than thinking about I have to close 24 this year, I have to close 2 per month. Now if I have to close 2 per month, what other goals might I have under my business goals for monthly? If I have to have 2 closings, what other wickets might I have to hit?
Bunch of appointments.
Your appointment.
Appointments. If you have a 50% conversion rate, how many appointments is that?
48 for the year.
So now we're talking about month. So how many is that per month?
4.
So if I have a goal,
Candidate months.
2 closings per month, 4 appointments per month. So what could one of your weekly goals be? 1 appointment every week for 4 weeks. Hence 411. 4 weeks, 1 month, 1 year. Does that make sense? This tool is literally designed to chunk down your big goals based on your GCI calculator. We figured out what your big goal was, and then we chunk down the activities using the 411 so that when you're sitting there Sunday night and you're saying, well, what the heck am I supposed to do today? You refer to your 411 and you say, my goal for this month is 2 closings and 4 appointments, which means I need to set at least 1 appointment every week. That's my weekly plan. What am I going to do each week to hit that goal? You may alternate doing door knocking and circle prospecting and open houses on the weekends. And then every day you may lead generate. You may time block 1 hour for social media, 2 hours for phone call, and 1 hour for follow-ups. Right? So you're taking this and you're chunking it down so that every week you now have a list of things that you can do so that when you're time blocking, you know exactly what your plan is. You don't have to go back and think or guess, what's my goal? What's going to get me to my goal? You figure it out once, you revisit your monthly goals monthly, and you revisit your weekly goals weekly. Does everybody have clarity on that? We have a little bit of time, so let's spend 5 minutes and go ahead and start filling this out. If you have no idea what your GCI goal is for this year, your profit goal, let me know and I can give you some rough numbers so that I can get you started on the right path. I think I've done GCI goals with most of you.
We have. I can't remember if I've done it.
Start with annual, chunk it down to monthly, chunk it down to weekly. And I want you to be specific on all of it using numbers. Remember what Dave said yesterday? Specific, measurable, realistic, achievable, and timely. Smart.
So there's 25 closings. What is that if it was on the calculator? About 100?
Well, take out your phone and I'll show you a quick math. Average sale price $250, average commission 3%, that's $7,500. 25 times 25. And that's your gross. You can basically ballpark about half of that for net. A little over it, a little under half actually. Half. Just cut it in half. That's your net. So if you want to, if your net is 100,000, then net 24 would be your annual. Does that make sense?
All right. Well, I just did that. So then half of that. So yeah. Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
You cap after about 11.
Well, that formula, that estimate of half, that accounts for taxes, cost of doing business, expenses. Obviously, there's some variance in there depending on how much money you're putting back in your business and what your average commission is. That's the idea.
Is that company dollar a business expense in terms of taxes? Franchise fee, right? Wouldn't that be a taxable deduction off your income?
What are you saying? The money that we pay in for the.
Oh, that doesn't ever come to.
Well, no, because because it never comes to you. So your gross then at the end of the day, as far as the IRS is concerned, is that check that you get, and then from that you're going to reduce your expenses. You know what I mean? You're not getting a check. It's not coming to you and then going to the company. They're just cutting a check to you after that's taken out. So you never claim it as income. Therefore, you don't write it off as an expense.
Even though it's expenses for your income, you couldn't write that off afterwards.
Well, no, because you're not right. You'd be writing off double. So no. The idea of a write-off is that you're reducing your taxable income.
Right.
They're not taxing that portion that you gave to KW, so you can't write it off.
Yeah.
Good point.
Uncle Sam Blaze a bucket.
Oh yeah. So are we all done with our 411s? It's only been about a minute. I only see 2 people working on it. You done over there, Matt?
Yeah.
What's your annual?
24, which is exactly what my thing was I'd done a month ago with it.
Okay, what's your monthly?
2.
2 what?
2 houses a month, and my goal.
So what are you gonna do on a monthly basis to hit 2 closings?
Every week I'm gonna do 2 appointments a week.
2 appointments per week?
Yeah. And that's greater than the goals I set annually, but it gives me a good swing at things, and at the very least I'll see that.
Okay, so now within each week, I want you to write down 3 additional bullet points of what are you gonna do to get 2 appointments a week.
Okay.
The more specific you are, the more likely you are to follow through. If you're vague, you don't know if you ever achieved your goal.
I have a question. We don't even use the Edge, do we? Are we using
E-Edge?
E-Edge?
Not so much anymore.
But they're charging us.
Nope.
My monthly bill says right on it.
They are charging you the same $25. That's Command. It's both right now, right? It's paying for both right now.
Okay.
The cost of Command being what it is, a multi-$100 CRM is, they're not charging you for that. So KW is going to continue to charge you the same $25 that used to be paid for E-Edge, now it's paying for Command.
Gotcha. Cool. Thank you.
Which I can assure you is cheaper than any other CRM and has more value. So
Good.
yeah.
Good to know. Good to know.
Vicky, how are your goals? What's your annual? 100, which is equivalent to what?
24.
Okay. Which is how many per month? And appointments?
4.
So what are you going to do every week to get 4 appointments?
Lead generate.
Is that a specific, measurable, realistic goal?
Well, number-wise, I think you'd have to do, what, 2 contacts?
You'll probably have to contact more than 2 people for every appointment that you set. You're probably looking at, and again, this depends on your conversion rates and who you're contacting. I would say probably closer to 20 to 1. 20 contacts to get 1 appointment.
What about if I already know people that are going to build a new house and all this?
Well, great. Then you lock those in for one of those appointments. So does that mean you shouldn't do any other activities?
No.
Because you may find yourself, I want to take this week off. I want to go on vacation with my family. So that's a week that's going to be removed, right? Christmas holiday, you may not want to be working. Right? So what are some other specific weekly goals in order to hit your 1 appointment per week?
Sending the app to as many people as possible.
Okay, as many people as possible?
Number-wise.
Is that specific?
10 people a day.
So when you think of SMART goals, right? We've talked specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. So specific, again, going, if I send it to as many people as possible, if you send it to 1 person, did you hit your goal? Technically, yes. Right? If you send it to as many people, see how that doesn't really help you measure anything?
Yeah.
So what's a realistic, measurable number that we could say per week? 50? That would be, I think that's a lot.
What can you do 10 people a day?
To send your app to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Until you run out of contacts.
Right. I would say pick an even more achievable number. So that way you do hit your goal every week and every month. And then that way after you start achieving it, then you can ramp up the numbers. Because if we set it too high and it's not realistic, then we're just gonna feel like we failed. So maybe you send your app to 5 people every single week, 1 a day. And if you stuck with that for 2, 3, 4, 5 months, you'd be amazed at the results that you would. I'm not telling you to not have high goals. I'm saying have realistic goals. And I think you'd be hard pressed to find 50 people a week to send the app to. Because you have to have a conversation with everybody first, right? So have 50 conversations. Send it to a minimum number. And obviously, if you excel, if you regularly exceed 5, then change your goal for next week or next month.
Yeah.
Cool?
Yeah.
What other activities do you think that could help you achieve your goal of 1 appointment per week?
Just kind of networking in general if you're at a restaurant or kids have some school or anything. Name tag or your cards.
Right. Okay. So is there anything there that we can measure?
How many cards do you want?
Okay. Sort of on a weekly basis, just depending on where you are. Okay.
Good morning, how you doing?
Or if you go door knocking.
Not too bad, how have you been?
So is door knocking part of your plan?
Not yet.
Get ready for some golf?
Well, here's an idea. What are you going to say to all these people in order to set
Oh,
appointments?
nice. You down there now?
Right.
What time you coming back home?
Wait, can I go listen? I'm sorry. Do you mind if I listen?
No, go ahead.
Because it's like, it's
No, I want
it's
to.
very interesting.
That's fantastic.
I just want to see, because it's something similar that I need to
Yeah.
do too,
Yeah.
obviously.
So your goal is, well, here, why don't I grab your phone?
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, I just wanted to reach out and let you know that, I'm doing real estate now. Yeah, so I wanted to reach out and, to kind of connect with people that,
So you've got a goal of
people know what I was doing.
24 closings a year, which is 2 closings per month, which is 4 appointments per month, based on a 50% conversion rate, which is fair. That's a good conversion rate. So in order to get 4 appointments per month, we call that 1 appointment per week.
I started, the first
So
year.
your goal every week should be 1 appointment.
Yeah.
Now you work with both buyers and sellers?
I love it. I'm with, Keller Williams
Great.
in Portland.
So now what activities we're
Yeah.
gonna do to set no less than 1 appointment per week?
Yeah.
We've talked about, Vicki, why don't you share with Karen what we've already talked about?
Well, for
Excellent.
one appointment.
So when time are you guys thinking about coming back here in the spring?
Per week, we'll get you 1 appointment per week.
Now, if you've got that 20 people and you don't have an appointment, should you stop?
No.
If you set 1 appointment after talking to 1 person, should you stop?
No.
Could you set 2 appointments that week?
No.
Could you set 4 appointments?
Oh.
So then either one of 2 things is gonna happen if you get ahead of your goals. Either you're gonna get more money, which isn't so bad, or
that's awesome.
you can make the
Well,
same amount
I
of
just wanted to
money
reach out and connect with you.
and and work less
check back
days
with
in the
you
year.
when you get back in here so we can
Right?
connect and
Maybe
I
take
can
more
give
time
you
off.
some information
If you're
to
content with the amount of money you're making.
And, maybe beat you in a couple games of golf.
It's better to get ahead than fall behind.
Alright, that
So
sounds
we're
great, man.
roughly
You take care.
Contacting 20 people per week.
Thank you so much.
The bold standard is 100 per week.
Alright, bye-bye.
Bye.
Absolutely.
The bold
bye-bye.
standard is 100 per week.
Okay,
So you're gonna be contacting a lot more than 20 people per week.
right.
She's basing off only setting 1 appointment per week, and I gave her a ballpark, it may take 20 people, it could take 60 people to set an appointment, it could take 200 people to set an appointment. It depends on who
20
you're,
sounds like really low.
it sounds fairly low. It depends on who you're contacting,
Yeah, that's true.
and what you're saying to them when you contact them. So that's why we start with Spirit of Influence,
I
and then we
agree.
wrote scripts, that's the script we did today. Those are your highest conversion rates.
What's that?
So why don't we bump up the 20, cause
I think that's the one
I use
thing.
the 21 ratio.
It's
It
so hard.
probably is gonna be higher than that for you.
To get out
Yeah.
good proper information.
Why don't we write
I
that,
feel like
Start,
you're talking
like,
over something.
just so that you have a more real,
You know, like,
so that you're touching
you're making
10
somebody
people.
feel
Now, okay, so how many people is that a
superior
day?
to you in the
Well,
conversation.
because you're working
You know,
7
sometimes if
Let's
you
assume
get
we're
too
5.
10
10 a day. Now you've got a plan.
philosophical.
Now, when you call these 50
Scare the
people,
crap out of
what are you gonna say? Your
You
answer
know?
was, well, I don't really know.
It depends on how you do it.
Well, it depends on.
Yeah. Oh,
Good,
good
good
Your
philosophy should be
calling
done with
based
a
off
coffee
of
or
the
beer.
week, like if they send
Just talk about shit.
Yeah.
Let me think about the world.
I look at what I call the
Right.
So it depends if you already know what they're doing, or if you just call it a blue, I don't know.
So if they've already expressed interest in buying or selling a house with you, you're talking to them, what's your only goal with that next conversation? Setting up like that. So you can kind of use your own words around that. Hey, why don't we meet face to face and talk about the whole buying process, home selling process, how's tomorrow at 2?
What do you think?
Doesn't have to be a very lengthy conversation, right? Get them in the
Not only clear mind.
If it's a listing appointment, get them in.
If somebody talks about.
Then of course you have to prepare your presentation.
Somebody going to counseling.
So is your listing presentation, is your buyer presentation
like mental
prepared?
health counseling?
No.
Do you have a buyer lead sheet or a buyer packet and a listing packet?
A lot of mental health
You
counseling.
do have both of those.
Is exactly.
You have the lead, you both have the lead sheets
It's
created?
philosophical. It is about
Oh,
life.
no, I
It is
mean,
about
just like that
mindfulness
was-
and
Or you have one that you
spirituality.
can print?
The
Yeah,
right
one
ones,
is right.
you know.
I don't love the one that I give you to print. I hope you use that one to customize your own. You can use it that way. It'll get you through.
Okay.
And a buyer packet, a listing presentation, do you guys have those?
No.
Again, I gave you a template on the Share Drive. I think it's vanilla. It's very vanilla.
Yeah.
And now I
It's
see
the
the
KW
guy now,
template.
I see him.
You should go in there,
regularly.
customize
He's
it,
like
get
a mentor.
inspired by
I go into
process,
office and there are
yeah.
pictures of
the
him selling
format, the
it.
layout,
Mm-hmm.
and customize, create your
He went
own.
and worked with monks for
Yeah.
years.
So that's, I mean, that's
something
natural.
that needs to be done.
That's natural item that needs to be done now,
Very similar.
right? Because once you set that appointment, what are you gonna say?
philosophy,
Yeah, you're gonna have it.
You know,
I don't know.
but when you talk
That
about
buyer
somebody,
packet is literally your
go see
conversation.
counseling, go see a counselor.
And if you have my classes on working with buyers and working with sellers, I'll teach you the whole process.
Instead of
There's a lot more
just
to it,
to
though, I don't
get
have to get into
clarity.
it.
I haven't seen those coming.
Just like you were
Classes?
saying, sitting
I
around.
schedule them every single day.
But I see like the lead gen and
That's been a big challenge.
And we all need one, you know.
Everyone should, even if you just go once a month and just be like, hey, here's where I'm at.
This is, I'm telling you, I love it.
It's called group training.
Yeah,
It's on the schedule every day. Group training.
it's amazing, but unfortunately, you go through.
And if you click on the group training, it's gonna tell you what we're doing that day.
My kid's like 6 years old, and she goes.
Now, the last thing I wanna talk about with you guys, in order to set, we kind of already talked about it a little bit, is that no script, depending on who you're talking to. So let's say you're talking to somebody else that doesn't, that you don't already know.
After that, I was like,
You've gotta know what to
guess
say.
I'm not gonna go talk to this one.
And so you learn those scripts by studying.
When he walked in there,
Studying.
we're like,
Your script practice, and then by
Pretty
person,
messed up,
that script.
right?
Yeah.
And this is
So it might be beneficial to have
letters.
so many hours per day per week to
after her
study,
name.
so many hours per
The
day
name
per
of the
week
song was
to
like
practice
this
with your
long. She had
accountability
B.
partner, so many hours per day per week to practice in the PC room with the group.
Exactly.
With those
No,
activities,
which one
lead to
did you
higher
say?
conversion rates and better results.
Uranus, and we left.
Yeah.
No, but there's a huge deficit.
Study by yourself.
Alright, yeah,
Being
so
connected.
That's just
Accountability
all-
partner, practice together, and then practice in the PC room as a part of the group.
That, yeah, first of all.
That way you just start to get
never
different
need
feedback from somebody
everybody
other than your
talking.
accountability partner.
You know, we should all be, exactly, you cry, you should be strong. Yeah, if you just go and you don't even need a knife, you just bite your back, you're really killing it.
Lee, what are 3 of your weekly activities to hit your annual goal?
First is, time blocking.
Okay, it's a good weekly activity.
Yep.
Excellent. When are you gonna time block?
Sunday nights.
Sunday nights?
Yeah, that's
Perfect.
my thing.
Okay, what else?
You know, and sticking to it. You know,
Okay.
it's already, time blocking includes all of that, you know.
Right. So what are the other activities to hit your goal?
Oh, I'm sorry, lead gen.
Okay, be more specific.
Well, I'm going to at least, you know, call 15 people out of my data bank and,
15 people per what?
For referrals, for
No, but you're gonna call them 15 per day, 15 per week, 15 per month?
15 every day.
Every day?
Yeah.
And you're gonna dial their numbers, or you're gonna talk to 15 a day? Because that's a big difference, right?
That all depends on, so that's my goal as far, regardless if I talk to them or not, I'm gonna dial 15 from my data bank, and then, I'm gonna go out and, you know, knock on 15 doors.
Every single day?
Yeah.
Monday through Friday?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a tough one.
Why is that
You gonna
tough?
do that?
How was that tough?
No, it's not.
No,
Where do you live?
You got this.
it's doable.
I know.
Lee, let me ask you a question.
Absolutely.
Let me ask you a question. If you were to dial 15 phone numbers and get 0 answers, how long do you think that would take you?
Well, it's just it. If I like today, 15 might go to 30. You know,
Mhm.
but then again, you know, I left messages and 3 people have called back. So just because I don't talk to them right now, they still may piece back into my day.
Yep.
And so I don't want to say, oh, I didn't get a hold of 15, so I'm going to call 15 more. And then next thing you know, I got 30 calls coming back in. So I don't want to, you know, I don't want to do that too much to myself, Joe. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense or no?
I hear what you're saying. Would that be a bad thing? And would it happen that in that exaggerated forum?
No, probably not. The one thing that I really want to get better at, that I don't think that I've really ever been good at is getting an email, reading it, answering it. Usually it's like, you know, so I don't want to look at my phone and be like, oh, there's like 14 missed calls, and I gotta call all them back, and then, so I only wanted to, you know, and again, I think it's all just, you know, learning, so that's what I'm saying. I'm only gonna do 15. If at the end of that week, it's like, oh crap, I gotta call 50. Well, then the next week I'm gonna change that accordingly.
Perfect. Thought, could you time block time to check your email? So that you have 100% focus on nothing else but your email.
Absolutely. Yep.
Excellent.
Yep.
What's another activity? What's your last activity not your last? What's one more activity that you're going to do every week?
Every week I'm going to go to 2 open houses. Every week.
Visit 2 open houses?
Yep. I'm going to go and either visit them, or if I'm lucky enough to be a part of some.
Right, because visiting them is good for knowledge and experience. However, are you going to get any leads from an open house?
Exactly. Right.
You're going to get a little bit of insight into the local market. Again, you're not going to get any leads that way.
Yep.
Right.
So then you would graduate after 1 or 2 weekends to now hosting your own open houses.
Right.
Agreed?
Hopefully, yes.
So you go work with somebody that is,
You can do that.
that's like shadow somebody for a weekend, and then.
Well, you can even take it one step further. Before that, even if you wanted to, is just go visit a bunch of open houses.
Yeah.
And be a little bit more cognizant of what's the realtor doing, because you're going to see some things that you really like that they're doing, and then you're going to pick up on some things that you really don't like that they're
And
doing.
it is really, it's helpful to see that for sure.
Yeah.
And then you study the 5th level or better open house that we have up in the PC room. And now when you go to say to Mr. Mega Agent, I want to host your open house, you can be more specific about what services you're going to provide to them.
Okay. Yep.
And then you can partner with other PC agents and say, hey, let's go find an open house together. Let's go do an open house together, and then we'll do all the activities leading up to that. Who's done that here? A bunch of the black belts have, right? Hey, you're doing an open house. I want to do an open house. Can I help you?
Yeah.
And maybe they say, you know, I put a lot of time and effort into saying, this is going to be my open house. You're more than welcome to come visit me, and you're more than welcome to go knock on some doors and hand out my flyer, right? So there's you can partner in certain ways.
And even that, if somebody's like, hey, you know, I don't want to share this one, but it's in a cul-de-sac, go touch all those guys, because I don't really have time. That's a huge thing.
Yeah,
Great.
it's still a great
That's
way
a
to.
really huge thing, yeah.
Maybe that's something to offer when you're knocking on each of those doors, right?
What do you mean? Offer the what?
Hey, I'm here. I wanted to. Did you guys realize
let
that your
know
neighbor
about
was
that.
selling their house?
Gotcha.
Right, that's the reason
Use
why.
that as your script to get in.
Just want to
Right.
invite you guys down.
It
here.
makes a purpose
Especially
for
if
being
it's
there.
another Keller
It
Williams
gives you a
agent,
purpose for using that, right?
Yeah.
You know, don't
I find that people like to choose who their neighbor's going to be. Who do you know that's saying about moving that we should invite to this open house?
Or should we steer them to another? Oh, sorry.
Or should we serve? Or should we serve another? Right. You make a little joke out of it. Show some personality. That's great. Steering is illegal.
Is that on YouTube?
Matt. Perfect. Thank you. I was only putting you on the spot because I want to make sure that you were setting smart goals, right?
Yeah.
Specific,
No, I
measurable,
appreciate it.
achievable.
Accountability, my friend.
That's it. And again, goal setting it sounds kind of elementary. It's not. Goal setting is a skill.
And it's, if you look at even not even in real estate, is the people that are successful in your life that you know, they carry they're not just winging it. They're not waking up on Friday going,
No, right.
what am I?
Yeah.
No, they know exactly what they're doing.
It's true.
And you don't even know it because they've been doing it so long. It's smooth.
Right.
Boom. Let's also go to page 25 in our binders. We're nearing the last few minutes here. Since we've been talking about setting goals, The whole purpose of this last final blast off from Ignite is to set you up for success once you're done with Ignite. And so what we have on this page,
26 for us.
26,
Commit.
commitment to action.
Yep.
Is your commitment to action. So we're going to go down in here. There's a couple of blanks we're going to fill out. And you're either going to or not going to make a commitment to each of these line items individually. What do I mean by make a commitment?
Put it in your calendar.
You're going to
make
do
it part
it.
of your daily log.
You're going to put it in your calendar. You're going to mentally commit to doing it. Continuing daily 10-4. Are you going to continue to make new contacts and add them to your database?
Yes.
Are you going to write them handwritten notes? And are you going to continue to familiarize yourself with the market? Yes. Excellent. That's what I love to hear. Practicing scripts daily. I was just telling Karen, there's 3 ways to practice scripts. Study by yourself, study with your accountability partner, study with the PC program in a group setting. You have 0 excuse not to be practicing your scripts every single day. Your scripts are going to lead to higher conversion rates. Those conversion rates are going to lead to more money in your pocket. Are we committed?
Yes.
Yes, that's what I like to hear. All right, holding open houses every week. Are you committed to holding an open house?
Yes.
If available, absolutely. I mean, I don't know how I can commit to.
Need to get them.
What activities can you do to find an open house?
Get in touch with agents that are just send an email blast maybe to the.
Email blast might work. Now, keep in mind, I've been telling all the PC agents to do open houses. I'm not keeping this a secret, right? It is no secret. Denny, yesterday, was talking about lead generation. What was the very first thing he said? Do you guys remember?
Oh, wait, no,
Sphere of influence. What was the second thing he said?
Open
houses. For the same reason of SOI. High return, little risk.
Right.
So there's no secret in real estate that open. So what I'm saying is that there's a lot of people that are doing open houses. So if you send a blast, an email, let me ask you a question. If you had an email blast sent to you, would you respond back and offer them to present one of your listings?
Probably not.
Probably not, right? What's a more direct way to add more value?
Face to face.
Face to face, I like. Even a direct message on Facebook or a personalized email. And when you're writing that email and saying, hey, I'd like to do your open house, what are some things that you might want to include and be specific about so that they say to themselves, wow, I'd love to have Karen do my open house.
What everything you're going to do for their open house, like
Right.
All the what is it? What level? 5 level?
Fifth level.
Yeah.
Fifth level or better.
I got to look at that again.
Yeah.
See what it is.
So what's 5th level? Let's help her out.
Knock on 50 doors.
Okay, so
Pass out 100 flyers.
door knocking,
Balloons.
balloons on the.
Directional signs.
Door knocking, directional signs.
Let's start at the beginning of the list.
Okay.
All right.
There's going to be a sign in the yard, a for sale sign. If you can find a rider for the top of that for sale sign that says open house, that's ideal. And you're going to put balloons on that for sale sign. Why are balloons good? Because the movement attracts the eye when they're cruising down the road at 90 miles an hour, so they don't miss your open house.
And I was actually in charge of blowing up balloons for the last open house. That
Excellent.
was my job.
Excellent. Good for you. You got your feet wet already. Then you're going to set directional signs at all the major intersections surrounding the open house. So you're going to look at it on a Google map. You're going to go left and go right out of that open house. So you're going to say all the major intersections, set up a directional sign. If you don't have directional signs, where can you get them?
Yeah.
From me or from the person who's listing your hosting. Because they probably have a bunch of directional signs. Okay? Then, leading up to the open house, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you're going to spend your day on the phone. Who are you going to be calling?
People in the neighborhood from the GeoSearch.
People in the
Vendors
neighborhood,
providing to us.
from the GeoSearch, people that you know, your buyer list, other agents who work with a lot of buyers. Has anybody ever been in the room when somebody stopped in and said, hey, who's got a buyer looking in Gorham at a two bedroom, price point $250? Something like that? Has anybody ever heard those conversations?
On Facebook Live.
They happen all the time. They happen all the time. start including yourself in those conversations.
In relation to the phones, have you gotten that service up yet? Next question.
Next question. Pass. Here's the deal.
It's coming any day.
I made a vendor agreement with a real estate attorney, a title company, and he was very specific about the advertising laws as they pertain to real estate. There's very specific laws as far as getting money for a service. Where I'm going with that is the way that the contract is worded is very particular. The reason why I haven't done it is because I'm waiting for him to draft that agreement so that I can then use it with multiple vendors. I don't want to draft something in scratch that I don't know what the verbiage should be, and then get sued for accepting money from a vendor illegally, right? Compliance. So that's kind of what's taking so long, is getting the actual legal contract from the attorney, because I like to follow the rules.
Right.
So that's the holdup.
So GeoSearch?
GeoSearch is a particular program that we use to find phone numbers.
Mm-hmm.
You can find phone numbers. There's a lot of ways to do it for free. It's going to be a lot more time consuming. You could look up in the registry of deeds or on a tax card who owns that home, and then use an app like Ben Verify to get their phone number.
Okay, but you can buy it?
You can buy GeoLeads as well. Let's talk after.
Okay.
There's certain lead generation software you could choose to pay for it. Then you door knock the day of the open house. Then you provide refreshments, and you host the open house. And social media marketing, of course. So it's basically a fifth level.
So how do you decide? You just said when you do an open house, you have drinks and all that stuff. Is that what you decide?
Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Depends on the price point and how many people I'm expecting. I've had lenders sponsor it. You can partner with a lender and say, hey, why don't you come to this open house, because they want the buyers too. And then they'll buy Dunkin' Donuts or whatever.
Yeah, I made coffee and I got some donuts and muffins for my open house. I had tons of people go.
You can, you don't have to.
No one got coffee.
Little bottles of water, little mints, whatever. All right, I want to move along. We spent a lot of time on open houses. We got sidetracked from our checklist here. It's my fault. Okay, number 4, committed to putting all people in my database into campaigns and following up with them on the phone every quarter. Part of the 36 Touch program is a quarterly phone call. That's like bare minimum, right? And then the other 32 touches would be something different. Emailed invitations, emails, handwritten letters, so on and so forth. What I want you to take from this one, adding people to your database and systematically touching them. Command is going to have systems that you can customize in order to systematically touch people. So you're not going to have to guess what you're doing that day. I commit to going on blank appointments every week. I want you to fill in that blank with whatever you just decided based on your GCI, based on your 411. Fill in your number and commit to doing it. Who's committed to doing what for appointments? Shout out a number. Shout out a number.
Per week.
4.
Per week. 4. 1, 2, 1. 1. A minimum of one appointment every single week?
Yes.
All right. That's a very achievable goal. Right?
If I can do 2 every week for the rest of the year, I will be stoked.
That would be 104 appointments.
That would be amazing.
If you converted half of them, you'd have 50 buyers or sellers.
But I'm not going to stop until I get 1 every week.
That's right. Pre-qualifying buyers and sellers. I'm gonna skip those 2.
Yeah, we're not pre-qualifiers, are we?
No, we can leave them.
This is
Kind
to
of.
ensure that they're.
I know.
Right.
Well, how do you know that?
At this point,
how do you do that?
Lee, what you do is when you're on the phone with them, you ask them a series of questions. Hey, this is Joe, blah, blah, blah. Set an appointment. Great, we've got the appointment. Now, before the appointment, let me ask you a couple more questions. You go on and ask them a few more questions.
Have you spoken to a bank?
Blah, 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 blah. My advice to you at this point, set every appointment you can and go on every appointment you can, whether you think they're qualified or not, for practice.
Right.
Confidence. And rehearsing your scripts. Right? Even if they are a very low end buyer, or they're not even going to be able to get qualified, you just got some practice. Now you can give them some guidance on how to get pre-qualified, and now in 6 months or a year, they're ready to buy a house. And or they appreciate the help that you gave them and give you a referral.
Right.
Once you have so much business that you can't keep up, then start pre-qualifying buyers. Until then, take the appointment. That's my advice to you.
Yep, that's good advice.
Let's see. I'm going to skip those couple ones. Managing, blah, blah, blah. 411. Consumer service, creating a win-win for all parties. I commit to my 411 and having myself held accountable to it. Put on your calendar every Sunday night, time block /411. It can take 15 minutes. You take out your 411, you take out your schedule, you time block based on the activities laid out in your 411. Every month, you update your 411. And last but not least, commit to coaching or some form of regular accountability. Congratulations, you're there. All right, moving right along. Conversion rates we talked about. Putting it all together. Let's skip ahead to 33. Okay, we've got a more action plan. If you guys aren't picking up on this yet, let me point it out to you. The whole point of today is to give you clarity and action items to succeed moving forward. You're no longer going to have a night, at least not for the next 6 weeks. So it's now up to you to start implementing the strategies and the practice and practicing everything that you've learned over the last 12 classes into your real estate business. Let's put it all together. Attend training in your market center. Fortunately for you all, that's offered every single day in my office. So do you have any excuse not to be trained on a weekly basis?
No.
Zero. In addition to the PC training, there's market center training. Tech Tuesday and Tech Thursday are the two most important ones, I would say. All partners meetings, you should be there. ALC meetings, you should be there. Those happen once a month for an hour. There's nothing more important than 1 hour a month going to all partners in ALC. Technology training, and then PC training in the classroom. Review and track numbers. If you track it as you go, it will hardly take any time at all. If you wait until the end of the week or the month to try to figure out how many people you contacted, it's going to be too overwhelming to do, and even if you tried, it would be inaccurate. Do inaccurate conversion rates help us set goals?
No.
They're useless. Start tracking now, at the very beginning, as you're going. Keep track of those numbers, and then you can calculate your conversion rates in another couple of months and really identify specific goals based on what you're doing.
And that's based on who you're actually talking to, right? When you're talking to them, when you're
A contact is.
that contact.
Yep. And then once you set the appointment, that's your conversion rate.
Yeah.
Once you hold the appointment, once you get the contract, that's conversion rate.
Yeah.
Once that contract closes, that's the conversion rate.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So you have multiple conversion rates. Where might be an easy place for you to track your numbers?
Command?
In command.
Well, yes.
Tracker on the drive.
Command is going to be your database where you track your contacts, all their notes, and who's at what point in the transaction. You're not going to necessarily track every person whose number you dial, right? If it's an expired listing, you're probably not going to put that into command yet until you talk to them on the phone.
You just
Say it again, Matt.
The PC tracker on the drive.
PC Share Drive has a tracker in it. I know I've told you all about it. I know I've sent you all emails about it, and I know most of you don't use it.
okay. Is it user friendly? Pretty simple.
It's an Excel spreadsheet. It's going to say the first week of February, how many people did you call, how many appointments did you set, how many houses did you sell. You type in a 0, a 1, or a 10, or a 5, or a 3. It auto computes everything for your month and everything for your year. It couldn't be more user friendly if it was possible.
Okay, good.
It's super easy, and guess what? It only works if you use it. If you ignore it and the rest of the PC Share Drive, then it might as well not even be there.
What are you getting at, John?
Well, I say this because Charlotte and I built this thing over months to add value, and people don't even have access to it. They have access, they don't know they have access to it. They've never looked inside of it.
Right.
Therefore, it's all useless. So get in there, look around, even if you don't need it right this second, familiarize yourself with what's in there.
There's so many times where I asked Charlotte where something is, she goes, on the drive.
Yeah, because I had a running joke upstairs.
She wants to punch me in a lot.
It's in the drive. Go into the drive and look around. It wouldn't take you 20 minutes to see every document in there. Just to read the titles. Oh, look, an entire folder on open houses. So if I want to learn more about open houses, I can do it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, just by reading a couple of documents. Oh, look, an appraisal cheat sheet. So when I'm making adjustments on a CMA, I know how much a bathroom costs. Ish, right?
You're not getting your frustrations out of me.
I give you, well, I want you to succeed.
Yes.
I'm giving you the tools. I'm giving you everything you need. I'm not
I
frustrated.
get it.
I'm not
But
frustrated.
you do recognize that not only are we all just newbies at this, like all this technology, you know, so it's not that we don't appreciate what you did.
No, I know, Lee. I'm not frustrated at
Most
all.
of us are just like,
I'm passionate about you learning.
Good.
And the resources are there for you.
Yeah.
And so I want you to learn and use it.
6 times of communicating something before someone actually gets back to you.
That's right.
Is that the
I'm not
same-
instructing, I'm reminding.
Is that the same site that the buyer lead sheet's on?
Absolutely
Yeah,
is.
So
exactly.
PC Share Drive, that's the one you sent a link
Yeah.
to us? Okay, I gotta check and make
That's
sure.
exactly right.
Yeah, the
Yep.
folder's productivity.
It's called Productivity Coaching 2019. Once you go in there,
it's right on you.
Your whole world didn't open up.
and just bookmark it. Just bookmark it on your internet.
What's that?
We save as bookmark, and then it's there for you.
Oh, I always go into my email and
You
I
can.
back to
I do
it.
the same thing. Should just bookmark
Just
it.
bookmark it. That way, every time you open up your Google, you just click on it, and it's right there. It's a bookmark. All right. How are we feeling?
Good.
Perfect.
Do we have a plan leaving here today?
Yes.
Yes. Are we going to stick to our plan?
Yes.
And how are we going to stick to our plan?
We don't know. No,
Being held accountable.
Accountability.
Accountability through who?
Friends.
Through friends, okay?
Well,
Productivity
I've already
coach.
made, yeah.
Okay.
I think pretty much.
How about through your calendar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The goals that we set ourselves, that we told ourselves that we're gonna not be able to do.
To yourself.
Yeah.
To your big why. To what's going to happen if you don't achieve your big why. All you have to do is wake up in the morning, pull out your calendar, and your day's already laid out for you because you've already decided.
Yep.
There's no more decisions to make.
That way we
Now
can-
you act.
we can
More
just
energy
use-
towards acting.
More energy toward the activities than figuring out which activities am I going to do.
Yep.
Can I tell you a little secret? I lay out my outfit for myself every day before bed. So that when I wake up in the morning, I put zero thought into what I'm going to be wearing because I'm going to be tapping into that willpower for today. I'd rather use what's left over from yesterday.
Oh boy, you're just going too far now. You're going. Because
Why?
I got the
How
kids
is
out
that
there.
Is that too
I
far?
can't.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you have to do it.
think
I'm just
about
giving you
that.
food for thought.
I think I've
I know,
done that
it's great.
twice in my life, and
It's great
both
when you're
times it was
single.
like, this is
That's the thing.
amazing.
I used to do that too.
Well, you're going to do it at some point. You're either going to be tired at the end of the day or it's another thing for you to do in the morning.
Yeah.
Could you start eliminating your busy morning by doing things on the back end?
Make life
I don't know.
nice.
I'm not saying yes or no, Karen. I'm just giving you food
I
for
know.
thought.
Oh.
There's a reason why Gary Keller wears the same exact black outfit every single day.
I like that.
Do you want to know? Do you want to know why? Because
He's well, no, he's not copying.
Uniform.
The guy that runs Facebook's copying him.
Mark Zuckerberg.
The gray shirt.
He wears the
Why do you
same
think
thing
he does
every
it though?
day.
He's a real
What do you think is? Do you think it's because he thinks it's super fashionable?
He thinks he looks good in black.
Do you think that's really why he does it?
No, he doesn't have.
I can tell you right now, Gary Keller's way too smart to be that superficial.
It's because there's only so much willpower for decision making, so you don't have to worry about what you're wearing.
He never has to make a decision on his outfit. He wears a black t-shirt and black pants every day. I've thought about copying him myself. I figured that was maybe a little too far. I've considered it. I'd rather just lay out my outfit. And
When Obama went in the White House, he made a list of what he likes to eat and he gave it to the chef. He said, any of these, anytime, I don't have a decision.
Yeah, don't ask me.
To choice, to make the choice.
It's a fantastic example. Simplify your life.
I do that to my chef.
What does she think of it?
No, I cook.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Commencement has begun.
commencement has begun. The ceremony shall begin.
Ta-da.
And this is the beginning of the rest of your lives.
Yay.
Why don't we end it with a quick round of applause?
We don't wanna get too.
Denny wouldn't like that.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna just say that
Denny's
same
not
thing.
here.
Denny's not here.
Denny's not here, man.
Great job in all seriousness getting through these 12 classes over the last 4 weeks. Take what you've learned, start to implement it. If you have questions, if you run into roadblocks, if you're not sure how to proceed, ask for help. Ask for help. Ask for help. You have so many resources available to you. We want to genuinely see your help. Congratulations, good luck, and all the power to you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna see if I have that.
Senor Joe. Couple of questions. Okay. I'm trying to get in on Saturday again.
Now? I have a haircut.
She says to me when I was teaching.
I cut my time block today.
She can, at this point, I almost say
I've already
wait until
done
next weekend.
Hey, that's
Yeah,
good.
switch.
This
Yeah.
weekend is going to be almost
Mixed it right down the sink.
dirty.
She said she wanted to make that.
She's welcome
I'm a
to.
student with two.
I was just like, hey, you know, if you two want to get out, I'll go.
Yeah.
I was just curious.
I mean, she can. Yeah, I mean, there's no reason why she can't.
Second question. She needs information for her insurance. Do you have the disclosures done? You know, actually, I did get an email that I didn't get to thoroughly check out yet. That's on my to-do list for today. Let me double check that
Yeah.
before I